Okay. That should be working. We should be live. Hopefully.
Woo! I got a notification.
Okay. Oh boy. One second. It's a white line on the edge of the screen. Okay. More scribble rugbies. WJ, welcome in. Moniker, welcome in as well. Angie Berserk Lizard? Is that a suggestion? What does that mean? Is that a type of lizard? Please clarify. How are people doing today? It is Friday. I'm exhausted.
Yeah, I'm pretty tired too.
It's gonna be one of those low energy streams.
Yeah, I have a feeling I'm not going to get through as many prompts as I did Wednesday. You're also drawing very small.
I am drawing very small. I was gonna do a whole bunch of little sketches, and that's just what happened. Wait, we can add more between streams, though. It's Monday when that's it. Also, good afternoon. Dragon Turtle, if you've already had one drawn this week, then you're done. If you have one on the list already, then it's the same list from Wednesday. So, yeah, you can suggest one thing per week. And on Monday, we'll have a new list. So, if you have a suggestion last week, it's still on the list. If it's already been drawn, then I would ask you to wait till next week. Gotta figure out my microphone.
Causing problems again?
It's just always in my way. Like, things keep kind of moving around my desk. And so it's making me, like, duck under it to look at the screen, which is making my neck hurt.
Yeah.
So I need to move things around. Never mind then. I just don't mind asking, why did you mean by less prompts? Just running low on the list? What did you mean by less prompts?
Oh, I will probably get through fewer prompts because I will probably take more time to draw the things that I roll.
Yeah, I think we got, I want to say like 8 or 9 done on Wednesday.
Yeah, I did.
We have like 20 left.
I did at least 6.
Yeah. So.
And I usually get through 1, maybe 2. So
we'll see how we do today.
Today I might just let myself get lost in the weeds and do a
big one.
Yeah, do a big long one. Because I'm comfortable with that, and it's very satisfying.
You just stop and lean on your shoulder.
Yeah.
Sorry.
As much as I really enjoyed getting through so many prompts on Wednesday, it definitely exercised a different part of my brain today. And that part of my brain might be fatigued. So we shall see.
Get the rugby warm-up done here. Something I've been struggling with what's it called? Foreshortening. It's just not drawing things. Like, I love drawing arms and legs and stuff.
Yeah.
And so when it comes to like trying to pose somebody, sometimes you just don't see them. Sometimes you just don't see anything. That's a sad day for me. From Maine, sorry from late. Just got your cancer treatment. Oof. Hope that's going well for you.
Yeah.
We're having a low energy day, so you're in a good place.
Yeah.
How did
We're just
rugby?
gonna be chill.
Yeah. Monica asked how rugby came to be. Rugby was a jape at the Discord because people kept wanting me to draw mimics and things that looked like other things, and kobolds in trench coats and stuff.
Yeah.
And so eventually I got to the point where I drew a goblin dressed as a kobold, like wearing kobold skin. And people wanted to see what a kobold... We drew the kobold vendor. It was a goblin that made leather goods out of kobolds. And then his assistant was Rugby, who was a tiny goblin who wore a bugbear rug. And so that's what he is. He's a tiny goblin cosplaying as a bugbear. So yeah.
In the skin of an actual bugbear.
To be more specific, a rug. Which is why he's a Rugby. It's very grotesque.
Yeah. And
That's what we
quite
do
tongue in
here.
cheek.
Yep. Good afternoon from Spain. I'm only one who sees the Minotaur race choosing to be an... Wait, what? Am I the only one who sees the Minotaur race choosing to be an artillerist artificer as something related to the Doom games? Ah. I guess so. Like, the Magic the Gathering Minotaurs, there's a bunch of, like, pyromancers. I think they're, like, fire worshippers. So, I don't know.
Weird.
Yeah. Their Boros is, like, their main thing, which is red-white. So, like...
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. Fire and light. Honestly, I don't get to draw a mimic that looks like a Batman thing. Hell, wouldn't have even called that a mimic anymore. Like a doppelganger changeling in a cosplay. Yep, that's the problem. So,
Yep.
that's why I banned it.
It got banned because it was literally everybody mimics all the time, all the way down.
A week or two ago, I think we were talking about like visual descriptors, and so what would happen is people would write out these huge, like paragraph long things of just like, this is my character's backstory, and they do this, and they look like this, and it's this high elf, blah blah blah, and then at the end they would just be like, that's actually a mimic, and it was like, nope. No more of that. And they would do the same thing, like they would write out a big long thing of trying to just like, this is Batman, and it's like, yeah, I get that this is Batman. Like, it's not clever. It's just you asking me to draw Batman or Barack Obama. I get that one a lot.
Yeah.
From the same person. You know who you are. I'm not gonna do it. I've called them out, so they'll probably show up again, but I'm not gonna do it. Bam. Gun cow is a weird take. Yeah, I don't know. Lots of fire. What mana colors would match your most recent character? I'm currently playing a red-green. What was my most recent character? The Bard? Ooh. That's a good question.
Yeah.
I haven't thought about it.
Is it your little bard, Leshy?
Yeah, I think that was the last character I played. I guess, depending on if it's the last character I made or the last character I played, because my investigator is 100% red-white. But...
The bard Leshy would be green or green-black?
Possibly? There's some haste mechanics in there. Like, that's kind of his whole kit, so I'd almost say green-red. But he definitely do weird stuff. Insect Swarm is still a green card, so he might just be green. He might just be green or green-red.
Okay. I assumed that because he healed people by first stabbing them.
I forgot about that.
That might be a black sort of.
There are some red-black cards that do that, like bonus attack by negative defense. I don't know. You can still make normal mimics, right? Like a chess mimic or something. Basically, mimics that aren't exclusively breaking the rules. I have done that occasionally as like a, hey, it's a mimic week or it's a monster week. But generally, no. Generally, no, just because it pushes people in that direction. It's easier
a
just
slippery slope.
It's a slippery slope. It's easier just to blanket ban them. So, speaking of mimics, a mimic PC I've made a rare unique mechanic for. On whether or not they turn into objects only weapons is usually dependent on the size of said mimic. The other thing about like mimics turning into a sword, would not be a good sword. Like, there was a great example of like Mystique turning into Wolverine and then Wolverine cutting off Mystique's claws. Yeah, just because you look like something doesn't mean you are something. Brian, thank you for the gifted membership. Hey, Corvus got the gifted membership. Awesome.
I like the thing you always talk about the baby mimics being gold coins.
Yeah, I like that. I think that was really funny. Red would be my wizard. Fire has this thing. Yeah, that's cool. Pyromancers are great in red. Healing through stabbing. Isn't that surgery objective mechanic? That is. He's got a risky surgery as a feat. So it's pretty great.
He very intentionally took the risk of killing one of my NPCs.
Elvin Hair, thank you. Thank you for the $10. For the Hobgoblin Paladin on Wednesday, he's awesome. Thank you guys. Yeah, no problem. I don't know who did I draw that, or I think Druid drew that.
I think I drew that.
Which is why I had mimic weapons do less damage, but they do a successful constitution if they have the option to use their teeth or whatever if they hit. Interesting. Okay. Yeah. Well, Bri and Elvin here both get goblins, so I need goblin suggestions from you. I think we can just do those here before we start. And I can turn off the ads today. Everyone can thank Elvin Hair and Bri for sponsoring the channel. No more ads. Woo. Boom, boom, boom. There you go. Okay, $10.01. Bid. Technically, that makes Bri take the initiative for a goblin drawing. So, Bri, what kind of goblin do you want? I'm having fun drawing just like little derpy characters. I like them. Speaking of which, thanks for your art. Looks great. Yeah, no problem. Dragon hair, elven hair, dragon turtle. No problem. Dragon turtle. For my goblin, goblin thief stealing the goblin pickle jar. That's a good one.
Classic.
A Vlasic goblin, if you will. Essentially, boils down to this. If a large mimic wishes to, say, turn into a ballistic bolt, they need to do a good con save just to survive being launched. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. One that looks like elven hair. That's technically fan art. I can do like a long haired. I don't know what elven hair looks like, so I guess we'll just draw a goblin that wants to be dressed up like an elf.
Goblin cosplaying as Lord Elrond from Lord of the Rings. Or even better, Galadriel.
Oh lordy. Yeah, the thing about mimics is they're not like the 5e mimic. I think can change its shape as a standard action, which I've always had a problem with. Because I think its intent was that it looks like something like a chest, and then as an action, it can transform into its true self, and back. So like it doesn't actually change shape into something else. It can shift between those two. I think that's its intent. Because a lot of the old writings about mimics were that as they stayed in an area, they kind of slowly adapted to whatever would fit that area. So it's less about them like walking up and being like, I should be a treasure chest right here. It's just that they kind of very quickly adapt to look like treasure in a dungeon because that's what attracts people. It might, like a small one might look like a dead rat so that other creatures come over to eat it, and then it eats like bugs. And then as it gets bigger, it just slowly adapts into other things. But I don't know. I don't know how intelligent they are. That's my big thing. I don't think they're smart enough to be like, I need to look like this.
I've looked at a couple of stat blocks for them before. I think it really does actually depend on the system you're playing. I believe in Pathfinder they're actually fairly intelligent and can speak.
Mick? What, really?
Think so. Unless I'm mixing them up with another creature. Let me look.
I'm gonna erase this from the rugbies, and I'll just start a new page. I am too high right now on my chair. Let me drop this. I need to raise this up a little bit. I think that's my problem. I've been drawing a lot this week, and so my body is just pissed off at me.
I feel that.
All right, Elven Hair, Gobbo.
Yeah, Pathfinder SRD. They've got an intelligence of 10 and speak common.
All right, well, there we go.
Racial modifiers plus 20 to disguise when mimicking objects.
All right. That infers that they don't have to mimic objects, actually.
Yeah, it does.
That's weird.
Although mimic object is the only listed mimicking ability.
Gotcha.
So,
okay, that makes sense.
yeah, it says a mimic can assume the general shape of any medium object, such as a massive chest, a stout bed, or a door.
Okay, so that would infer that if it tried to disguise itself as like an elf, it would not get that bonus. I think that's what it's inferring. Okay, we can go with that. Let me get you on chat real quick here.
Sure.
Sounds a lot more like balanced as a potential PC option as a pet or other forms. Yeah, I've seen a few of those. Intelligence on, if I recall it as subtype, are rare, but the weaker ones are 2. I don't know what you mean by that. Intelligent ones get a subtype. Okay, I gotcha. I think the subtype is like house or something to that effect.
I think that depends on size.
Not sure what lore it is from. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of different ones, so that's a problem. Got a question about the Discord? You can ask. You're very welcome to. My persona with everyone is a Lithari elf, aka a werewolf elf. Okay, so there we go. We're gonna draw a werewolf goblin elf. For intelligence, I more or less gave them the nuanced intelligence of goblins and kobolds. So, however smart they can get, the mimic probably can too. That's fair. If you're rolling it as a PC, that's definitely what I would do. Dirtiness, hello, welcome in. Artificers can create mimics. Holy shees. Yeah, I don't know if they can create mimics. Like wizards can find and control them somehow. So I would definitely see like an artificer being able to command one. Like if you got it as a pet or something. I would think that'd be interesting.
Again, I think it depends on the system because I believe it's lore in Pathfinder, at least in first edition, that the wizards who keep mimics as a defense structure, like they make a specific business deal with them, being like, I'm going to make sure you get fed if you also act as an alarm system and or security for my lair.
Yeah. Let's see. So we just got Tertinus. Do you have a goblin? We are doing Moblin March. So if you have a goblin, if you give me a goblin with like a 1-sentence prompt or a one word prompt, like class or something, we will add a goblin to the pile. PC Mimic, I had to do this. If they want to quickly turn into an object, then they need to do a dexterity or performance check to get the details down. Yeah, I would roll that into the stealth check. But yeah, I think you can definitely do some stuff like if there's common items nearby, I would also give them bonuses for that. That could be a lot of fun. This stream seems a lot more lively than Wednesday. We did say we were going to do a chill lowdown stream, but we're going.
I don't know. We've found a topic to discuss.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit put out that it is mimics, but whatever.
People like what they like, you know?
It's true. Just as long as nobody asks me to draw a character whose description is half a page, and then at the end it's just
mimic.
it's a mimic.
Yep. Do we know mimics are natural? Maybe they've been grown in alchemical vats, fantasy clothing, gene labs, and beginning just started reproducing. Possibly. I mean, I also think they might just be kind of like sentient oozes. Or changelings that just don't like people. I don't know. Controversial opinion, are cats just mimics stuck in one form? I find they're always hungry and have weird personalities. They fit into any shape too, so they could be oozes.
They are both liquid and solid. They're non-Newtonian fluids, so.
Let's see if I can draw a were-goblin. These ears aren't big enough. Whoop.
Anyway, I'm interested in pivoting to the werewolf because I saw a YouTube short the other day of somebody who was talking about lore and origins of myths, and they were suggesting that there is a connection between leprechauns and the original werewolf, or at least there was some conflation when Christianity kind of
well, like,
I guess
yeah, I don't know.
neutered everything, because I guess there is some lore from the original Irish folklore of leprechauns, is that they were small men that when they bathed in a lake under a full moon they transformed into wolves.
Interesting. I've not heard this. I do know that like the druidic nature of werewolves is kind of the speculative thing that I hear all the time.
Yeah.
That it just wasn't a curse; it was just people turning into wolves. And the curse came about later because people were trying to like vilify the druidic people, saying that they could turn into animals. They're like, oh no, it's horrible, and you kill everybody. So. Both are interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, lovely people, I gotta head out before I
people.
get okay for my treatment. Be safe. Don't play with fireballs, kids. Thank you, Alexander. Good luck. I hope you start feeling better. Let us know how that goes.
Nobody plays with fireballs. They're just the only spell worth taking.
I personally try not to take fireball as much as I can. Just because I'm a hipster. And I'm like, lightning bolt is my secondary, like, I don't know if I should take it. Like, I should take it because it's good, but I don't want to take it because I don't want to take it.
I like chain lightning better.
Yeah, chain lightning's really cool. I always thought there was a descendants of some warm-blooded dragon that shed its scales and became domesticated? Leprechauns? Did I miss something? I feel like I might have missed something.
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah. If you don't mind me asking, anything they can think of, just what they can see, touch, etc. Yeah, I think I missed something. I don't understand. Backstory-wise, making anything but default, they wake up in a lab and tries to discover what they are. That's a story. You can do that. I have a goblin who's an actual paladin, Oath of Vengeance, with a long backstory. Recently, he reached level 6. Nice. You want a goblin paladin? We can do that.
They're talking about cats with the domestication dragon thing.
I can see that. I can see cats being
Yep.
dragons. The mimic memory and whatever they currently seeing, aside from people's objects such as cups, horns, swords, whatnot, are on the table. Yeah, like there's the weird part about like shapeshifting and like polymorph and stuff.
Yeah.
And with the druids, I like that like it has to be an animal that you've seen. You can't just be like, I turn into a dinosaur, and then the magic just fills in all the circles. I'm a big fan of people doing the same thing with disguise checks. So if you're a mimic player and you're like, I want to turn into like I want to turn into the deed to this guy's farm, like it's gonna look like AI art. Like it's just You don't know what language it's written in. Like, you don't know what it's supposed to actually look like. You don't know what a bottom side of a treasure chest looks like if you've never seen the bottom side of a treasure chest. Like, I think that kind of stuff is important, and that should be how you kind of tell your players that something's not right. You know, you pick up this coin and it has a picture of like a dead goblin on it. It's like, that's weird. That's not what coins look like. So,
do goblins in this area have their own currency? I don't know. Roll for it.
I think they were talking about cats. Yeah. Yep. Okay. That makes sense.
All right, I'm ready for my first roll.
Oh, okay.
Still D20?
Yes. I lost the chat. 1 second. Or I lost the list. I closed
Goblin chivalry is quite sophisticated. Okay. I rolled a 3.
Black-winged Asimar with a shotgun.
Okay.
Do with that what you will.
Okay.
I thought of mimics as more similar to cephalopods than, at least 50-50, than oozes. I could see that. Yeah, because like they don't really, like, they can't melt. That's the thing, that I don't want mimics to melt.
Yeah.
I squeeze under the door. It's like, that's not how you can shift into a different form, which is why I kind of said I like the idea that they grow into a form.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
I like the idea of cephalopod. I like the idea that this could just be a toothed snail that is intelligent enough to grow a very specific shell.
Mm-hmm. I also like the idea that they actually like find a treasure chest and just slowly like envelop it.
Yeah,
Use it like
hermit
a shell.
crab it.
Yep. I was talking with the person that was writing the, what's it called? Mimic guide? They just did a Kickstarter for it. I can't remember what it's called. But they have lots of little funny ideas like that. The fuck? Well, Pixel's got the zoomies again. I gotta kill it! Must have seen too many birds in the window. We'll give him a tail. Okay. I think that's our little Welvin hair. We gotta get my ponytail. Oh my god, Cat, you gotta chill out. Alright. I don't know where he went. I don't know where he went, but he's gone now. Hooroo! Woo woo woo. Well, maybe it could just be like, I guess their shell can be morphed or broken or mended to look like something, like a dragon meshi. Dungeon meshi. I don't know what that is. Where the mimics are just hermit crabs. I like that idea. I really like it. They're amazing with camouflage. Yeah? I like the goblin style. I'm just here for the fuzz.
I'm still internally chuckling about the idea of a goblin cosplaying as Galadriel.
Yeah, that would be pretty funny. Do a whole Lord of the Rings, but like bend the entire thing so the goblins are the Goblins are the elves, and the elves are the aggressors.
Yeah.
Meat's back on the table. I don't know why I gave him that accent, but they seem kind of highfalutin. Okay. Goblin rogue stealing pickles. The pickle bandit, yep. Here's distant thuds, yeah. He climbed up on the shelves and then just like bounced off everything. Birds aren't real.
Stop that.
Oh, is Dragon Meshi the like delicious in a dungeon? Is that what started that? I just started watching that. I'm like 3 episodes in. We had a big conversation about that yesterday in the Discord. They call me the Pickle Bandit. Just have a pickle falling out. That's not how goblin feet work.
Goblin feet work?
They're not. They're not vestigial. Should goblin feet not work? They ain't got no shoes.
That's fair. Well, neither do I.
Your feet work.
Sometimes. I guess yes, but they don't work very hard.
Birds aren't real, and they should fear. We should fear. There was I saw like a news clip of like North Korea making drones that look like birds, but not good enough that they actually look like birds. So everyone's just like, "What the fuck is happening?" That's obviously not a real bird. Do they not have birds in North Korea? I'm very confused. So I just thought that was really funny. Could have been like propaganda or whatever, but it's still just pretty funny.
Yeah. It also is a funny idea to me that they've squandered their natural resources so much that they don't even have birds, and so therefore can't figure it out. It's probably more likely that they just did not put any money into it. Poor people of North Korea.
Yeah.
We laugh at you, but the situation is not funny.
I'm not laughing at the people. I was laughing at
No,
the
yeah. The Communist Party. North Korea is wild.
How much oh man. With the idea of eating monsters in a dungeon, wouldn't the passive magical radiation or possible mutations for eating unnatural foods cause them problems?
Depends on the lore of the
Yeah.
world.
What's the? There's a really weird fucking ass anime.
I'm gonna need more than that.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what it's called. Like Lost in Abyss. I actually I can't watch it. It's too weird. But it looks almost exactly like Cave Story, which is an amazing video game. And if you haven't played Cave Story, I highly recommend playing Cave Story. And the idea of the world Forbidden Abyss is great because it is like this weird magical whole dungeon shows up, and as you descend into it, you become more and more mutated by it. Like you can't come back up once you go down, and so it's kind of like this one-way journey descending into hell, and it gets really weird and gross, and I don't like it. But the world is cool because of that, and so yeah, it's like eating stuff in there slowly turns you into weird monsters and stuff. If you're eating like a beholder, probably grow a baby on the side of your face. Just multiple eye stalks. So yeah, we've talked a little bit about like the goblins. Goblins will passively adapt to things in their environment, which is pretty cool. That's how you get like Grendelo and what are the other ones, like monkey goblins and stuff.
Yeah.
And I have always liked the idea that dragons, like dragon radiation, kind of affects its environment. So like if a fire dragon shows up in your town, eventually the entire town will be just like a magma fireplace. Yeah, welcome in, Corvus.
And is that usually where you think Dragonborn and kobolds come from?
I have said that in the past, actually, with specifically goblins. Like, kobolds are just dragon goblins, like goblins that hung out with dragons so long that they kind of turn into little dragon goblins.
I mean, that is certainly the way we treat them, personality-wise.
Speaking of dungeons, out of curiosity, have you ever heard of the dungeon core genre? Dungeon core, like, do you like put brick walls up in your house and shackles and stuff, or is this just like a weird sex dungeon thing that I don't understand?
It is the internet asking. It's hard to tell.
Yep. Okay, there's the pickle goblin, and then we need a goblin paladin. I love the idea of dungeons having an effect, dragons having an effect area. They stay in the location for decades or centuries. Yeah, I like that too.
Yep.
I like
Same.
Dungeon Synth, but never heard of Dungeon Core. Yeah, I haven't heard of Dungeon Core. Does that kobold have a bear trap for teeth? That's not how bear traps work.
It just they repurpose them into dentures. What's the problem? I love that course.
The longer you look at it, the weirder it gets. That kobold in the back who's got the board over his head is going to knock himself out with the board. Which is the unfortunate nature of having short arms and long necks.
Or or it's gonna get caught on his horns, and it's just gonna like tweak his neck, and he's gonna get that weird neck tweak where half your tongue goes numb.
Oh, I've never had that happen. Is that a thing?
Uh-oh. Yeah. I'm
You know,
here,
guys.
chat. I'm not the only one, right?
You might be the only one.
Oh no. Well, we all know how broken my body is anyway, so it's fine.
Be careful with your neck. Strengthen your neck muscles.
So y'all's talk of dungeons reminded me that I just watched the newest episode of
Delicious and Dungeons?
Delicious in Dungeon.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's what we were talking about. I think we were talking about the
I
original.
was going to bring it up one day. That they in D&D they have like these like horde bugs. They're like they look like gold coins, but they're just bugs. And they have those in Delicious in Dungeon.
It's funny.
It's just like,
That show feels very much like they're just like, what if D&D, but dungeon? Like, only dungeon died, but his world.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and also the dwarf is a druid, and oh wait,
well, I mean,
in
he doesn't have
Path-
magic.
Oh, he just cares about ecology.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Basically, he's like, don't take more than what we need.
Gotcha. I've looked into Dungeon Core. It's just I miss 1990s dungeon crawling vibe games. All right, I can see that. The last one I played was
The Rook.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, me in general. Apparently, my whole life is Dungeon Core. I have swords and stuff everywhere. I'm working on leather crafting right now.
Which I'm
Hammer.
sure surprises no one.
Hammerfall? Hammerfall's a good one. It's a really good dungeon crawl. I like it. You basically treat the dungeon as a living magical creature mostly spawned from light RPG genre. Okay. Interesting. Dungeon Core is either something weirdly cozy or a sex thing, and the line between the two. Yeah. That's what I was thinking.
Why not both? Things can be more than one thing.
Yep.
Most things are.
But also, on the topic of Delicious in Dungeon and kobolds, their kobolds are dog people, which was kind of threw me off at first.
Interesting.
They're just straight up dog humans that can't really speak the common language because of vocal cord differences.
Dogmouth? Can't talk, have
Probably,
dogmouth?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
Dog kobolds are the actual OG kobolds? Oh, yeah. I agree with that, for sure.
I'm
If you
pretty
wanted
sure
to.
the actual OG kobold, or yeah, kobolds are actually dwarves.
Kobolds are dwarves? Why do you say that?
Because kobolds in the original German fairy tales and folklore just has them being
Oh, okay.
underground underground fairies, which are goblins, dwarves, and deep elves.
Yep.
And Svirfneblin.
Basically, yeah, in old Germanic, those are all the exact same thing. Goblins, dwarves, kobolds, gnomes, yep. Fairies, sprites, they're all brownie sprites, elves, yeah, they're all the same thing. If you want, I can post more detailed explanation in the server later, or just like TV tropes page, but going on to this unsolicited sounds like it would be annoying. Yeah, I mean, if you want to post stuff like that, you're welcome to in the D&D references, D&D chat. That's what the Discord's for, but yeah, so it's up to you.
Yeah.
I'm
Basically,
sure
the
you will
term,
find somebody who's interested in it.
Yeah. From what I've looked at before, the term gnome is basically a Latinized version of a Latin name for kobolds.
Yeah.
So it's kind of ironic that in D&D they hate each other.
I could
you're
definitely
the
see
same
that
thing
being
in real life.
Yeah, I could definitely see that being a like on purpose.
Yeah.
Of course, it's kind of the same thing with like elves and goblins.
Yeah,
In the
and
Tolkien universe.
dwarves.
Yeah. Did you know that Gandalf was supposed to be a dwarf? He was supposed to be the king dwarf in the original manuscripts.
Someone had told me that, but
It's
I
probably
never
me.
believed them.
Yeah. In the original book of The Hobbit, Gandalf was essentially supposed to also be Thorin. And then when he wrote the book later, he's like, I'm going to make them two different people.
We'll make him an angel.
Yep. Fairies. Yeah, I have to ask: are there no full-blooded orcs in D&D? Why are there? There are. Yeah, there are. That was one of the first videos I ever made.
No. What do you mean by full-blooded dwarf, actually?
Orcs, full-blooded orcs.
Oh, orcs.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. Yeah, there are. They're just usually considered a monster species and that you fight and not a playable race.
Yeah.
Which is why Rook made the video, why you should play orcs.
Because they're great.
They are great. And in Pathfinder, you absolutely can.
I think they should be large-sized creatures. I think they should be super beefy.
I tend to agree.
I feel like if you're going to be a goblin paladin, you got to have like a big head poof. Like
I never really care for size, so it doesn't matter if they're medium orcs or large orcs.
Ooh, size doesn't matter to me.
Mm.
It doesn't.
I have the
I
moral
play
high
small.
ground. Sorry.
I prefer the smaller races to play.
That's fair. Tiny races are really fun. I like the, I had a friend that was playing a Minotaur, and so I made him like a large size Minotaur. But I gave him a ring of diminutive size so that he could shrink down to tiny. Like, not just one level, he went all the way to tiny. Or diminutive, which in Pathfinder is smaller than tiny.
Yeah.
That is really, really funny. I think those
Insect size.
are... insect size. Monsters of the Multiverse has orcs as a playable race. All right, there you go.
Yep. Orcs went through a lot of changes as they went from monstrous races to a more fleshed out character option.
Yeah. 3.5 had a lot.
They were not great when they were first released.
Well, no, it's because the entire purpose for them is to be a humanoid race that nobody feels bad about killing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And they based the character option basically from that mindset, and then they're like, maybe that's not the best way to go about this. And
Eventually.
And then they were like,
died.
we need evil elves. What would they look like? I don't know. Dark? It's like, all right.
yep,
Give them black skin.
And-
Hold up.
have them live in a matriarchal society.
Which is, we'll flip it on its head.
Yeah. Slow your roll, people.
Check yourself before you wreck yourself.
Anti-elves. All right, I think there are little goblins here. This is a pretty good party. Goblin, little paladin. Oh man, I want to do something different with this.
Go ahead.
No, I was just like, I want to change the armor a little bit here, but
Considering how nature-themed elves always are, I'm surprised that the air quotes good elves are not matriarchal.
well, it was written by an old man in the 70s, so
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, we could have changed that at any point. It just makes sense to me that, like, look, ecologically speaking, men don't serve very much of a purpose.
Outside of our
And-
one thing.
Yeah, most social species are matriarchal in nature.
your wokeness is showing.
That's scientific.
Sorry, I had to say.
The herd lead for horses is the dominant female. Same for hyenas. Same for
Lions are
lions.
interesting about that too. Like lions and gorillas, and there's one other like having a singular male seems to be something that is like across many different species, right? Like they'll have one
Yeah,
male and then the females kind of do everything.
Yeah.
Like the females are technically in charge, but they require that one male. And then whereas in like I think bonobos, it's also bonobos and lemurs, same thing. They both have a female matriarch. And like shun all of the males except for the boys. Which I think is funny.
Except for the one time of year when they're like, okay, you can come in.
It is time. So nature's
For
weird.
the snoo.
Yeah.
Nature's weird. I'm glad you said it, Corvus, because I was gonna say it, and I was gonna say it in a way that probably would have gotten Rook demonetized.
Yeah, be careful. I would honestly, I don't know enough about the elven lore to say one way or the other that they are or are not having elf matriarchs. I almost said melfs. the Melvin matriarchs. Do not search big beefy orcs. It's probably a good idea.
Or do, you know, Bri, you can if you know what you're into and that aligns with it.
Is that your thing?
A goblin, werewolf, paladin, and a rogue walk into a bar. You think one of them might have seen it and told the others that they were goblins. It's probably become the game that everybody has to walk into the bar, and only the tallest gets the street cred. Yeah, like, so thinking about like
gender roles within.
Yeah, like that is a whole can of worms to everything.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
But from what you were saying, like the drows, you read some of the Salvatore books, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like the males were just completely worthless. Like that was
Yeah.
very much a drow thing.
Yeah, a female-dominated society, and I actually don't think it was a bad step considering the goddess that everybody worshipped is Lolth.
Oh yeah.
Right? It makes sense for dominating evil spider god to be female.
Yep.
And it makes sense for a female deity to prefer a priesthood composed entirely of women.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Another weird thing about the elves, both groups, is their creator, Corlon, like, is non-binary. Like, from the get-go, they were always just androgynous. Like, there is no. So it's like, I think from what I've read, the reason Corlon Khan became pissy with the elves is because they started to separate themselves instead of being like androgyne.
Okay.
And
sex was a choice.
So they started settling into certain forms, and they did not like that. I'm really
interesting.
But kind of why Corlon just like, you know what, screw it, I'm done with y'all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and even
and I think Lolth had something to do with that. Them like settling in a fixed form, and so
was rather surprised by the whole gender fluid elven god thing. I mean, I'm not.
Yeah. Me neither.
Like even the Tolkien lore, like elves were just grace and beauty and like just femininity personified. Yeah.
And there's even things in the lore that state that elves in the material plane, if they're particularly like, if they catch Corlon's attention, Corlon will bless them with the ability to shift between forms.
Funny.
Like at a daily basis. And for Drow, that is utterly terrifying to them. It is a source of terror. It's like one of the few things they're truly terrified is getting blessed by Corlon so they could shift between the binary.
I've said it before and I'll say it again. If you live long enough, you will eventually have sex with everything. So it doesn't matter. That's where we get merfolk. That's where we get probably where we get goblins and kobolds.
But it's like, it's even mentioned. I don't know if it's ever talked about in the Dritz books. But I know in the kind of the hard lore by Ed Greenwood that Drow actually hate going to sleep because go in their trances, because elves, when they go in their trance, they basically are visited by their ancestors, and like kind of relive not past lives, but like lives of their ancestors, and that's like terrifying for Drow.
Interesting. Okay, I rolled a 9, which is a halfling archaeologist who is gathering artifacts from a long-forgotten god and is unknowingly becoming a paladin.
Interesting.
Or
I like it.
like they're finding like a paladin sword.
It started out as a shield.
Weird. All right.
I don't know.
Did I say half elf? What did I say? Halfling. Okay.
Halfling. So Hobbit.
The Drow will actually kill any androgynous elves they find in the worst way to get back at Daddy Elf. Is that a thing?
I am not surprised.
Yeah.
I would not be surprised.
Drow kill everything. Like, they don't care.
Yeah.
Like, they just,
Yep.
you were born on a bad moon, we kill you. You were born and you look funny, we kill you. I remember...
Unless you look like a demon, then we'll keep you.
Dritz had purple eyes, which is not super it's uncommon for Drow, and like it was a big thing in the book. They're just like, oh, fuck. So Dritz got the shaft pretty bad, but
Yeah.
books are good.
Except for that one sister who found it
Kind of sexy and
attractive.
weird. Yeah. Creepy. Anyways,
Very.
I think there were even a point where.
Go ahead. Sorry.
You saying the name Caroline? It's spelled Corleon. I would say that Corleone, but that's right French. So I don't know.
People from Wizards, like Ed Greenwood, I've seen a video where he was talking about them, and he says it's pronounced Corleon.
Corleon? Okay.
Yep.
Corleon. Okay, I can see that. I gave you everything. Why would you do this? Only for her to say how the things... Well, sorry, hold on, Dragon Turtle. I gotta try to read this again. I think there was even a point where Corleon was like, but I gave you everything. Why would you do this? Only for her to say how the things she wanted was something that could never be given. I can't follow that sentence. I might need clarification on that. The Drow hate going to sleep because they really don't want to see the one ant that they just talks and talks and talks about political views. Yep. I know the Drow also practice eugenics, including with attractiveness as part of Loth's philosophy on natural selection. Yeah, like having children is like a privilege for the very rich and wealthy. Like the matriarch of the family is the only one supposed to have kids. So, yeah, that's a big thing.
Yeah, the Durgar also kind of do that, where like if you're born with too much hair or the wrong color of eyes, you're kicked out.
Gotcha. Loth and Corleon in the old lore when she tried to kill him in an accident to usurp him. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. I accidentally tried to assassinate you.
Oopsie. My bad.
Ain't I a stinker?
Yeah, this stuff is like 40 years old, does not age well.
No.
I mean, so that I don't know, maybe that's too political, but like I'm totally fine with how the Drow were written. Like I don't think we need to update the Drow for the sake of getting rid of the Drow, right? Like I think it's better to write the Drow now with the options that like with understanding and like rationality that not all Drow are the like even within like the Dritz books are written, so this is written 40 years ago about a Drow deciding to not follow the Drow. Like that's what the whole story was about. And so when people get caught up on like the books, the books saying that that's how Drow have to be, I agree that could be changed, but I don't think we need to change the Drow. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if they've really been changing the Drow. They've just basically been. So basically, like evil Drow come from this one area.
Yeah.
and then there's like the archetypical drow that you see in the dungeon or monster manual is like a Menzo Baranzan drow.
Yep. That's
And
what
then
I'm
it's like,
saying.
yeah.
So like,
And that was the direction they're going with. So
yeah,
at least we're trying before people got crazy.
Yep. That's really the point I'm trying to get across is like I like that the drow are this like hyper xenophobic racist thing in that one instance because that can add to a lot of good story and like and conflict and character growth and everything, and it's great. And if you say it's wrong, you shouldn't do that, never do that, it's like that's getting rid of something that I think can be used very well. That being said, the books don't have to be written that's the only option, and that can 100% change. So I like inclusivity in the books, especially like with Pathfinder, kind of giving it more of just like, instead of being all drow are this, it's like you pick drow and then you would pick a background that says, you know, you were part of the matriarchal sect of this chunk of thing, and that changes the way you grew up. It's like, that's perfect. I love that. I love that idea. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. I was thinking of reading Dritz, but I didn't know where to start. Start with Homecoming, I think. Right?
I think that's it.
I think that's the one. It's a really good one.
I will say, like, even before Salvador started writing the Drizzt books, there were like canonically like groups of good drow who were not part of Wolf Society. It's just
right.
Well, yeah, like it's the thing of drow are technically the evil group of dark elves and Menzo Baranzans, but there are other groups of dark elves.
Yeah.
So all drow are evil, but not all dark elves are drow.
Yeah, and I do think it. That's an interesting way to think about it. Yeah.
Or the technical society of drow is evil, but not all drow, not all dark elves.
Yeah. That's kind of like
follow that.
How it's been done, because there are like, I think I remember seeing like dark elf and drow being two different terms, like, and that's kind of like how they do it with Pathfinder.
Yeah.
At least I've read sometimes where like drow are specifically the demon worshipping societies of dark elves in the Darklands, which is the Underdark in Pathfinder.
Gotcha.
But you can have dark elves who are not raised in that culture living elsewhere.
Yep.
And that's why there's not like a subrace of drow for elves.
Yeah, I think a lot of
cavern elves.
I think a lot of the like pushback that WotC got was really more just like culture war, people being trying to be mad at stuff. Don't change my things. It's like nothing's really changing. Like nothing is changing. Like, it all exists. So,
we're not taking away what you have. We're giving you more options.
Yep.
Stop freaking the fuck
Stop freaking out. I sometimes get annoyed that people forget about Elistry.
Yep.
Almost the opposite of Loth, let alone the other elven gods. That's the one that I'm more familiar with than Coral. I can't even say it. Corlon. It's been. I've seen it.
Trying to make him sound like the Don from The Godfather.
I've seen it written 3 different ways, and then you said it a way that doesn't look like it's written. So I'm very confused. So I just keep forgetting. My brain doesn't work.
Here's
with
how
names.
it's spelled.
That's the 4th way I've seen it spelled now today. So.
Well, the others are wrong. This comes from the official wiki of D&D. Yeah. So
would have been fine if it was just some small or eccentric remote settlement, but what WotC did was come out of nowhere and break the whole everyone thinks sucks in the Underdark thing. What? Yeah, like, so the whole, like, I think
Svirfneblin and Flumps don't suck in the Underdark.
Yeah, and like all the bugbears and other things that lived in the Underdark were basically all oppressed by the drow. So it's like it was the thing.
Why they would be pretty on edge.
Yeah. Some of the other fun things about like the later Dritz books are like they start dealing with like orcs, bumping into orc camps. And Dritz has to kind of like come to terms with like, oh, orcs are people. Oops, like, because yeah, a lot of dwarves are just like, oh yeah, if you see an orc, just kill it on sight, because they all worship these evil war gods and they just want to kill everybody. It's like some of them don't want to do that anymore. What do we do about that? So, I mean, those old books are about challenging perception, and I think it's very worthwhile, and it's something that did, I think, come out of not just the time it was written, but like the fact that it was written, right? Like these fantasy writers, fantasy and sci-fi are always kind of about pushing social norms
and challenging social perspectives.
Right. And so when you had something like D&D that is very much just like, this is the way the world is, like this, here's this book, this tells you exactly what the world is, the writers basically just immediately pushed back on it. They're just like, yeah, let's challenge that, let's just talk about that, let's talk about dragons, like, and how dragons are supposed to be this way, maybe we find one that isn't, right? It's like, I think that's great, and I think that's what makes fantasy writing so good. Salvatore does a good job.
Not the most excellent writing I have ever read, but it's good. It's fun to read, and I think it does a good job of exactly what you described.
I definitely had to read Homecoming twice before I really felt like I understood what the hell was going on.
Yeah.
Like most authors, his writing gets better as he goes.
Basically, when it comes for this, everything is right and everything is wrong. Let's just enjoy what we enjoy and move on.
Sure.
Yeah. I'm not saying like stop the conversation, but it's just like, I feel like too many people will like, well, no, it should be like this and this, and it's like, well, that can be what it is in your homeworld if you want. If your version of Faerun has this, fine, go ahead.
I'm gonna give him a crown. I just realized I'm gonna give him a crown. If you were an archaeologist and you found like an ancient gold crown, would you put it on?
Probably. Wait, no. Is this in the D&D world, or is this in our world?
Oh, if I found a magical crown, I would definitely put it on. 100%.
I guess it depends on the aesthetic of the crown. It's like, if it's like black, jagged, and thorny, I'm like, nope.
In our world, 100% I would. In a D&D world, I would nope out of that shit so hard until somebody had not only identified it, but made sure to cast a remove curse on it.
Identify as a spell drives me crazy. That's my hot take for the day. It's like, are you using your knowledge of magic to like identify how something might work, or are you like pulling from a giant Google search of magic in your brain? Because like really an arcana check to me should be like, have I ever read about something like this? That makes sense to me. But then when you use magic to like aid you in that, how does the magic aiding you in that? Like, I don't know. I've read through the Tome of Horrors. I'm not really falling for that trick. Fair enough. Fantasy writers is always a clever retrospective of our current society. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, that's basically the point of fantasy.
I
think sci-fi.
Everything's right, everyone's wrong, liches enjoy. My ears mishearing. I actually heard that too, but I let it go.
I said let's.
Okay. Black jagged thorny crown, where I lost one, I'm looking for it. I think the biggest valid complaint that 5e was sold as a return to form from 4e, and is now deviating from established lore far more than people were sold on. Okay, I see what you're saying. Hundreds of dollars on that edition. Yeah, 4th edition was just such a far diversion from the game to begin with.
Yeah.
And 5e was then basically a simplification of 3.5. So if you really like 3.5, like 3 and 3.5, go back and play it and use the 5e stuff. It works fine. Like it totally does. The numbers just get a little weird. So I suggest using 3.5 monsters though. The magic search engine to go through an index of grimoires. Yeah, maybe that would work, Elliot.
Yeah. In my worlds, I usually have an actual Akashic library. For people who don't know, the Akashic record is supposed to be like a magical or divine record of everything that happens in a world or universe. So
Yeah, Thunder
uh,
Sphinx.
yeah,
Sorry.
yeah. So
So
the idea of a massive magical Google search index to like reverse image search Google this magical item is like kind of it works for me.
sure,
I realize it doesn't for every setting, but
Yeah.
I do like Bob the Skull as a concept. Just like wizards can't use computers, and or computers don't exist, so you just
yeah,
have to have a skull that's been around for millennia.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I've seen one of those.
I think the spell identify is I guess, I don't want to say a convenience, but it is a way of players figuring out what an item is without having to DM like stop the game. It's like, hey, this is what this item is,
Mm-hmm.
just so you know. So
Yeah,
um,
I'm still
I
very
guess
much.
you could figure out how you identify it. I guess other than like
Yeah.
obviously the spell identify, but it's like, are you reading the magical runes inscribed on the blade or whatever?
Because I think it's supposed to mechanically just give you a bonus to an Arcana check, and I think a lot of people just kind of eschew that and just like, yeah, it's fine.
No, it just tells you what it is.
I hate it.
Again, Corvus, I'm gonna say that's gonna depend on the game system and which edition of that game system you're pulling from.
Well,
Anyway.
I am referring to the spell identify in 5th edition.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think
Yeah.
it does just tell you what it is, and then I think
Yep.
you can do that as like a ritual. So it's like 10 minutes and you know what it is, and it's like, well, okay.
Yep.
Yeah, but
Except-
that's 5e, which has gone out of its way to make everything as dumbed down as possible.
Yeah. So in Pathfinder, it's a plus 10 enhancement bonus to your spell check, spellcraft check, and then things like since what is it? Detect magic, like that also is the same thing. Like it's way more powerful in 5e than it is in Pathfinder or 3.5.
Yeah, yeah, but it's in Pathfinder and 3.5. It's a cantrip though, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. You can basically just turn it on and walk around.
Yeah. Or 5e, it's a first level spell.
I had a sports bar in a fantasy capital that used portraits and cauldrons to view different events around the world. Well, that works.
Need Harry Potter that shit.
And in 2e, there is no longer a spell identify. You have detect magic and you have feats for identifying stuff.
Yeah.
Elliot Wilkman.
Which the feats are like will be tied to like, I think it has to be an Arcana check to the just because you can roll without the feats and it's just like really high like
Yeah.
Arcana check.
Yeah.
Which fine, I guess.
Specifically for like cursed items, I like there being a little bit of deception to it, you know.
Yeah, yeah. And I don't know how it is in 5e, but in Pathfinder, at least in first edition, I haven't looked at it in second edition yet, but in Pathfinder, a cursed item very specifically had a DC you had to beat in order to tell that it was cursed. Otherwise, it just appeared. It always appeared in the description as a different non-cursed item.
Yep.
Which I love that. I like that's 100% what a cursed item should be to me.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, what's the point of the curse if you can tell it's obviously malevolently cursed?
And so it's really only. Yeah. It doesn't make sense. It's too dangerous to not do that if you're metagaming it a little bit. But like most people don't have identify as a spell. I do because I'm freaking stupid like that. But, the biggest problem is finding any RPG book games besides D&D 5e fixed that. Wait, what? Hold on, let me make sure I'm getting this right. I like the Brennan Lee Mulligan version of the Identify spell in Fantasy High because the spell is literally just a guide telling you the basic history of whatever you're identified based on the PC. That's gonna be fun. I like that. I like the Identify of like kind of just. I like giving people vague ideas, like, "Oh, it's a flaming sword." Like, really cool. Okay, awesome. Little do they know that when you crit, it blows up. Like, that's great.
Fantasy High was hilarious because when they cast Identify, Brendan Lee Mulligan literally did a David Attenborough voice. Like this voice just comes into your mind and starts giving you a description of the item. I also kind of like, in my mind, I kind of specifically like the idea that identify actually only works for magical items, and what it does is specifically allow you to read like the magic circles that have been imbued into the
Yeah,
item.
and that's I think that's really smart too, and that fits in my mind closer to the like forcing a spellcraft check.
Yeah,
And so
yeah,
that way, even I'm a big fan of Pathfinder's new system because it's closer to like a gradient scale, which is how I do a lot of my DCs, anyways.
yeah.
Because then, if like you show somebody a really powerful sword, but they roll really bad, or they're just not very well versed in spellcraft, they're like, oh, this has one or two enchantments on it, but you can only figure out what one of them does. Like you've only ever seen this flaming enchantment because it's a low level enchantment, right? So like that's way more interesting to me than just like here's the sword. Like I don't like that. So
Yeah.
that's always boring to me. Honestly, the biggest problem is finding any RPG game based besides D&D 5e. Fix that now though, and worse, met people who look down on other systems. Yeah, I mean people will do that. So like we love. I grew up playing second edition, 3.5. I played some fourth edition. I played fifth edition. We did a lot of 5e because 5e became so readily available with like D&D
Yep.
Beyond and stuff. Pathfinder's great. I love Pathfinder. It's still my favorite. So yeah, like there's definitely a lot more games out there. I had a
Yeah.
sports book. I read that. I called it Scrytuba. Scrytube? Okay, that's fine. Scrytuba sounds funny too, though. The giant column with a sign saying, please don't fall in while watching the Blood Bowl game. Now, best items are ones that change how you play and not necessarily being negative. Yeah. The curses I like are very much. They shouldn't. There's a difference between punishing a player and having negative effects. So
Yeah.
cursed items should never punish a player. That's really the thing you have to look at. And so
I
every now
agree.
and again,
They should only challenge a player.
yeah. So like Lars gave me a dagger that made it so that I couldn't use any other weapon, and I'm like, great. So I'm no longer a dragoon. But I had to find a way to use it, right? Like so there's some things that can challenge a player, but you got to be careful about not just like shutting them off. Like, oh yeah, this makes
Yeah.
you not able to use magic. It's like, why did you put this in the game? I'm like, that's not fun.
I need to roll for my next prompt.
Go for it.
13.
Slime with one eye. He wears chainmail and has a mace as a weapon. Slime.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's sweet
kinda
and
fun.
to the point.
Yeah, I like it.
Perfect.
I don't know where I'm going with this halfling, but it's getting somewhere.
They look so unamused.
Mm-hmm. He's just like, I don't know what's going on. You want me to be a what now?
I somehow can touch people and they heal.
When did that happen?
I really like the red priest from Game of Thrones.
The drunk one.
The drunk one, yeah. Because he's just like, I don't know what's going on, but like sometimes when I read people last rites, they come back from the dead. It's really weird. It's like okay. It's like so yeah. So that happened, and now I just follow this guy around, and every time he gets killed, I just pray on him, and he comes back. It's probably not me, but just in case it is, I'm gonna keep doing it. So I like that dedication to his faith is that he's like, I hate being here, but I'm obviously supposed to be doing something, so I'll just keep doing it.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on.
It's funny because he basically got sent to Westeros because like, oh, you're a drunk. You'll probably get along really well with Robert Baratheon. And like tried to convert Robert. And then he's just like,
Look, this isn't gonna happen.
yep.
I like the idea that clerics don't really have control over the spells they take. Like, the player choosing which spells they have for the day is divine intervention. So they just show up and, like, someone's hurt. They're like, I gotta pray on them. It's like, I hope something good happens. Like, the characters themselves don't actually know what they're casting. They're just there. They're just there trying to help. Begging for their deity to do something. And you're like, as a player, you're like, heal spell. Boom. They're just yelling, like, go into battle. And then you're like, I better cast bravery. That's a good idea. One second. I'll be right back. I'm gonna get more water.
Dear friends, my God is with us. Inspiration.
Oh. Just remind me of what I watched. Going back to Delicious in Dungeon, it's so relevant. They talked about resurrection magic today, and in their system, depending on the state of the body, you have to have, like, I don't want to say, it's not necessarily animal sacrifices, but, like, you have to have meat and blood around to, like, basically to use it to stitch the body back together.
Interesting.
And so the premise of the thing is that this magical dungeon is a magical ecosystem, but all around the dungeon there are magic circles that prevent souls from leaving their body, so they're like shackled to their body. And so adventurers, if they find their body, they will mark it, and then like collectors will come back and bring them up to the surface so they can like get proper rights if that was the thing they wanted.
Interesting.
What happened?
Yep. Talking about
More
delicious
and dungeon stuff.
Don't
they,
spoil it.
They really worked through resurrection.
Yeah.
That's pretty interesting, actually.
I mean, I left it vague enough so if people are watching it, I didn't explain why that got brought up.
Gotcha. Inferno was talking to me a little bit about it yesterday. Saying something about, like, you can only be revived in the dungeon? Is that what you were talking about?
Kinda. So, basically, people who die in the dungeon don't move on.
Oh.
So there's, like, a magical malaise on the whole dungeon that prevents souls from moving on. And so they are, like, bound to the body.
Okay.
And so if you don't want to be rezzed, you have to be brought up to the surface and brought away from the dungeon.
Oh, cool. Okay. I was like on the second or third episode, they were like, "Oh yeah, people come down here and actually just like bring people out of the dungeon." It's like, that's nice of them. That's a weird job to have, but all right. Okay, I think I'm done with this paladin. I found a magical crown. Better keep doing my research. Oh, that's the Ice King. I just made the Ice King. Is the Ice King a paladin or a warlock?
Yes.
Does
he even have a patron?
The crown.
I think
it's just a. Go ahead.
I think he's a warlock because that crown is a super cursed item.
Yeah.
And the price of the contract is his sanity and memory.
That's fair. Okay, hold on a second. So, I got a lot of catch up on here. So, I would like to ask for the most bug-eyed kobold chef you can imagine. I will put it on the list for you.
Sounds beautiful.
Cursed Eel Blade deals additional 1d6 lightning damage on hit, but only if the target is wet. That's just a lightning sword. Yeah, that's just lightning on a weapon. You could call it the Cursed Eel Blade. I like that, though.
Also, keep it away from the bard.
I do think it would be funny. I'm not going to go there. I think if you want it to be cursed, I would have it be that if you're wet, you also get electrocuted. That's how I would make it a cursed weapon. I love the Abadar clerics go, you need to tithe to make a donation, but I get paid when I work. Also, good lord, these pants. Yeah, those big poofy pants. It's probably due to my own views, but I love openly flawed clerics. that seem to just fail upward. Yeah, me too. I like it a lot. Seems to have someone looking out for them. I like the idea that like fate kind of guides heroes, even if they don't want it to be. I'm a big fan of that. Plot armor. My friend God is with us. Cast Shocking Grasp.
I know you are, Rick.
Yeah. I mean, I made the chosen one. It's great. It's a feat I have. Cast Shocking Grasp on a wicked guard and judge us rather harshly for our sins. Yeah. Actually reading an ongoing series, a dungeon core book, actually, where the divine casters have no levels. Oh, weird. They're just conduits for what God decides. That's interesting. So you just don't build your character at all and let the DM figure it out.
Oof.
Cast
I
levels.
know there's some players who would like that.
I know no GMs worth their salt that would like that.
The crown is a hexblade. Essentially, yeah. I actually tried that once, Druid. I tried to let people just make me an argument for what you think should happen, and then I will tell you what actually happens. And it didn't work well. It didn't work at all.
Yep.
People need some structure. Ice King is more warlock than paladin. I don't see any martial abilities there. That's fair. He is kind of a klutz. Definitely a warlock. Just didn't want it. That's fair. If a character is destined to take a cursed item by fate, what class does that make them? Probably a warlock, yeah.
Probably a warlock.
I think warlock or sorcerer would work too. Instead of having like being born with powers, they just gain the powers. And that can cause like, if it's draconic, if they then take the draconic bloodline, they start becoming a dragon. Or if you have the elemental, like you start lighting on fire, right? Like you can just do that all forcefully instead of it being something that you were given at birth. So I think both of those would work really well. Cattle prod.
I think that's one of my favorite tropes for sorcerers is like they went through some sort of event or basically got touched by some sort of magical radiation.
Yep. All right, I rolled a 15, which is a water genasi monk that looks like a huge Samoan warrior. All right.
Huh. The Rock.
Yeah. Just draw Maori.
Because I liked it for certain things like, oh, there's a dragon that lives by, especially with like how they've like talking about how dragons like affect the area. It's like there's probably I don't know, 3 out of 10 people in the nearby village that are born with dragon powers, just being near the dragon radiation.
Ooh, yeah, I like that a lot actually. It's like there's a dragon living under your city, and children are starting being born with dragon horns and stuff.
Yeah.
What's happening?
Yeah.
What's going on here?
I honestly like that more than the interbred with a dragon bloodline
right
idea.
That always bothers me because it's like there's so much so many more questions. So many more questions pop up.
Yeah.
Especially when it's like oh yeah, my great-great-grandfather was a rock elemental. It's like, excuse me? Like, how did that work?
Yeah. I think the only times where it doesn't bother me is like, one, if your dragons in the universe have polymorph, which in D&D most do have polymorph, some of them don't.
I mean, that's the Zeus model, right? Like,
Yep.
Yeah. And also,
if you live long enough, you fucking.
In my own brain, I think certain dragons only do that with like nobility. So like, I imagine red dragons would do it, like polymorph into a human, sleep with the nobility.
So there is the other side of that would be like hags and I'm gonna say cultists, even though I don't want to I don't necessarily push those two into the same thing, but like a demon summoning, right? Like witches or some group of people are like, okay, here's what we do: we summon this big evil giant demon man, seduce the hell out of him, and then we get a superpowered demon baby. Like, that is not a unique story I just made up. Like, that is a story that is used all the time. I could definitely see that.
Is it the Plus Sabrina?
Yeah, exactly. 100%.
It's also the nightmare of early Christianity, especially especially those who settled America.
Sorcerers are just the X gene mutations of X-Men. Yep, exactly, 100%.
Pretty much, yeah.
But so I could see the same thing. Like, maybe it's not just like, my great-grandfather was a rock elemental, but he was a summoned humanoid thing
Mhm.
that just had planar, like a rock deity,
Like an
or
Earth Genie, maybe.
Yeah, or an Earth Djinn. Like that would make total sense. So I do think there's that. I have to give that credit.
Yeah.
That it's not just like, oh, I went out and fucked a rock. It's like don't do that. Don't do that. It's not good
Oh
storytelling.
God. No. Sorry.
Well, I shoved a rock inside me, and then you were born 9 months later.
Yeah, you didn't have to go there. That was the inferred joke.
It's not
Yeah.
how that works.
Too specific.
I
Sorry.
have a story to tell later off the stream.
What's the there's a Rick and Morty gag where this guy's like, I've got you, Rick Sanchez, and then this lady walks up, she's like, the doctor called about your butt cream for your butt flaps, and she's like, too loud, too specific. I will deal with that later. And I love that, like you're oversharing. Please stop. Please stop.
Yeah, Druid.
Let the inference sit. I prefer the dragon.
I have no filter.
It's all right. I prefer the dragon parenting thing and shapeshifting not to be weird. That could be true too. Like I like the what is it, fairy tale Natsu kid, like
Oh yeah.
raised by dragons, so he has dragon powers. I think that's pretty cool. I think that's fine too.
Has to eat fire.
Has to eat fire. Yeah. Dragonborn is my setting. Can be natural born, but they also come from rituals. Rituals is a good way to do it too, which could be the same thing we described, just less sexy. So
Yeah.
take this child and fuse them with a rock. It's like, all right.
I saw someone talking about like blood earlier. There's a trope also like, and it really only works for certain types of characters. Mainly like the like a barbarian or something. But I like the idea of like a barbarian gaining their rage by like consuming like a bit of dragon blood.
Oh, interesting.
Not a original trope. I kind of borrowed that from Dragon Age, but
Oh, okay. Like, not that they have to drink dragon blood every time. They drink dragon blood once, and now they have dragon fury.
basically, yeah.
Okay, cool.
In Dragon Age, I think it's implied that you do need to like not every time, but like on a more regular basis, like re-up it because it does dwindle.
That's
But
cool. I can see that.
and in the context, they're called Reavers. It's a specialization you can go in as a warrior, which is basically just barbarian. Eventually, like they talk like how more you consume, more you like develop like growths and scales and horns and even eyes and the foul temperament of a nasty dragon.
It's like the dragons from Elden Ring.
Yeah, especially if you eat them.
Yep. A barbarian has to put 1 drop of hot sauce to get into a rage. You want to go Super Saiyan? You got to snort the hot sauce. Wah!
Oh God, no, no.
You never snorted hot sauce?
No, but the mental image and mental sensation of that happening, just like nope.
I 100% accidentally inhaled like a taco. We used to have to make. We called it Gringo Killer, but Serrano, basically Serrano paste as a salsa. I had to make it every day. I had to make it every single day, and it started with like 4 or 5 pounds of Serrano peppers just getting mixed in a blender. If you do that, it is impossible to not get just pepper goo on your hands. The oil goes everywhere. Like your nose burns, your eyes burns. And if you touch anything of your face while you're doing this, your face explodes. And it was always really funny because the first time we like had to teach people how to do it, it's like, whatever you do, before you are done, wash your hands. Do not go to the bathroom. Wash your hands here in the kitchen. Do not touch your junk. and every now and again, someone would like, in the middle of doing that, they'd leave to go to the bathroom, and then you just hear, ah! It's like, you idiot.
Yep.
You were warned.
You were warned.
All right, new roll time.
You went through that one real fast.
Yeah, well, it was a blob with a mace
Fair enough.
and an eye. So, 8.
half-orc accountant who wants to prove to her community that she was normal and boring, but was dragged into the occult anyways. A very occult half-orc accountant. So, occult, like half-orc witch, I guess?
Like, Mama, don't want to make blood sacrifice to the blood god today. I got these taxes to do.
Those are the same
If
thing.
if she's basically forced into this, there's got to be something extra special about her, though.
There was no race given, which is part of the
Half orc, they said.
Oh, sorry. I just completely forgot that. I just dumped it out
Or
of my
maybe
head.
full orc, yeah. Doesn't matter.
Dumped it out of my head so fast.
I'll come up with something. Wow. Gonna need a new layer. Almost forgot that part.
Water genasi always bothered me a little bit because they just have like water hair.
Yeah.
It's like I want it to be wind hair, but slightly
You
different.
give him seaweed hair.
Ooh, that'd be weird.
It's like water genies look more fish-like than anything. So
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of normal hair here, so maybe I don't need to do wet.
yep. That just reminds me of. It's like, can I water bend a water genasi? I'm like, no, they're still flesh and blood.
They're still people. A barbarian that keeps himself raging by pulling hairs out. Yeah, technically that counts as an attack, so I'd allow it. I've always allowed my players to do that. If like they feel like they can't continue their rage, it's like punch yourself in the face. It's an attack. Do it.
Yep. It just has to be an attack roll.
Yeah, you still have to make the attack roll. And you have to roll damage, 100%. Don't put that out in the verse. There will be people that will try just with the spiky yellow hair. I lost the plot. Elven hair. What are we talking about? Trying to go Super Saiyan or like boinking rocks? Are you in the camp of the fire dragons are immune resistant to spice? Or massive babies with spice because burning is an alien sensation? Uh-oh. What? Are people giving dragons drugs? What are we talking about?
No, spice, as in chili spice.
Oh, okay.
Cayenne.
You spice? You spice it?
Damn it, Scanlan.
I don't see why dragon. I don't know. Yeah, I think it would depend. I think it would depend on the dragon. Dragons can eat metal, so I don't think they would really care about capsaicin. You know.
Yep.
Yeah, capsaicin is kind of it's actually a molecule specifically designed to stop mammals.
Yeah.
Because it does not affect birds at all. All chili peppers are actually designed to attract birds and deter other creatures, because birds are much better at spreading their seeds and less likely to destroy the seeds.
Some eldritch being that will always see our eyes and tentacles. The rest is off screen. She files taxes. Could be. It seems like another scene. I remember seeing the animations of women with water hair in something impressive. There's some really. I like the like the cloud spirits or water spirits from Adventure Time, but Adventure Time has a really, really clean, simple style, which just makes stuff like that look really good. You could always do foam from the beach. Yeah, I mean that's exactly what I was trying, but foam from the beach is another thing that you have to draw. So, it's like, what if we got really complicated? And it's like I'm trying to avoid that. How do I draw water hair without being complicated? I could just draw an ocean. Snorting hot sauce to go Super Saiyan. Yeah, I mean, like, I've known guys that have done that, so don't try it. Because, yeah, it doesn't work. I think Corvus had the right idea with, like, clumpy seaweed hair.
Yeah. Like, if you don't want your water adjustments to have, like, just normal people hair, give them seaweed hair or fins.
They're not merfolk, are they?
Yeah. No. So they're, like, they're most often, like, people who are descended from, like, water genies. That's kind of the baseline for them. So, since water genies typically are, like, vaguely fish-like. So I see often people will give them like the weird finned ears.
Okay.
Which I just love.
It's a neurotoxin. They are even spicier neurotoxins like resinoferotoxins, okay, which have a Scoville rating of about 6 billion. The plant that produces them makes the air around it devastatingly spicy. All right, good to know. Myriad and water genosity are the same-ish. Okay.
Yeah. I guess the question comes down to, are dragons immune to poison?
Do you consider hot sauce a poison?
I mean,
I guess if it's a toxin. That kind of makes sense.
they are not immune to poison, so I guess the dragon could taste spicy. But again, our dragon, going back to what Jared said, does that imply that dragons are mammals?
I think that's a bad example, but only because 5e is immunity to poison is stupid, and it's always been stupid.
Yeah.
Because nothing is immune to all poisons. Does that make sense? Like,
nothing can be because poisons are
too
toxic.
varied.
Yeah.
So
poison is not one thing; it is everything.
Which is like that brings up the whole like, oh, I'm immune to alcohol because I'm immune to poison. It's like, I guess. Technically, that is correct.
My only pushback is you're adding real life biology to a fantasy system where
right. That's what
people
I'm saying.
can punch dragons and kill a dragon with a punch.
So
Well, IRL people have bit anacondas and killed them. So
didn't you see the It movie, the old one, where they punched the space alien clown to death?
Still fiction.
You're fair. That's a fair point, Corvus. So
I get what you're all
universe,
saying. I'm just
my argument to what you were saying is the book doesn't say they're not immune to poison, so they are. That's correct. That's a fair interpretation of that. You
can like poison a dragon. Is what I was trying to get at.
If the dragon had immunity to poison, then I could see the argument for they're immune to hot sauce. I can definitely see that. I just hate it. I just hate it. That's lazy writing is what it is.
I mean, I guess my thing is like there's so many things that are like poisonous by nature in fantasy things like green dragons. Are green dragons like still susceptible to their own poison? I would say no. So
right, but a green dragon's poison is not the same as a chili pepper. So like they shouldn't be in the same defensive thing, but they are because of like simplicity.
Because
so like whereas like horses can withstand some snake bites because they're really big. Like that's why they're immune to certain poisons. Other poisons kill them. That's just how it goes. So like there's a whole lot of weird. My argument is, why was it written that way to begin with? Simplicity and lazy writing is my argument.
Well, you have to take that with like every fantasy system, then, because there are poison immunities in every system.
Yep.
So,
Drives me crazy.
I am right there with you, Rook. But I can't come up with something that would work better, so
Yeah.
I leave it alone.
At the same time, like, resistance
Probably
to
why they
bludgeoning.
leave it alone as well.
Yeah. Resistance to bludgeoning is, like, there's so many different kinds of bludgeoning, and, like, choosing what type of damage you're doing with a weapon doesn't make sense. Like, it should just always do bludgeoning and piercing. Every time. Like, unless you're whacking them with the handle or something.
Yeah.
So.
That's like how, I think like the Morningstar in 5th edition works. Like it does both. So like you split the damage. Like one half is bludgeoning, the other half is piercing.
There was something about that because werewolves have certain resistances, and so there are some stipulations of like, if a weapon can do both, it will always do the best one first. So like, just because you have immunity to piercing doesn't mean you don't take the bludgeoning damage. It's like you just take it all as bludgeoning damage, which is a good boon for weapons that have that like modality. That's great. But it adds complexity. It adds complexity, and that's always the problem that we run into when you start adding damage types, damage resistances, and that's true for all game systems, video games. That is a level of complexity that just explodes.
Because it's actually something that the
Spicy
some firearms do in 2E, where they have the concussive trait where if something is immune to piercing damage, they take bludgeoning damage instead.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
Because I think like certain things like I think skeletons are just straight up immune to like piercing damage or very resistant to piercing damage because
I think it's piercing and
it's really
slashing.
hard to poke them.
Yeah. Like, what are you poking? Nothing. Nothing there to poke. Which I also like that. Like, they used to be immune to precision damage in Pathfinder 1.
I think they still are.
It might be. But they also changed a lot of this stuff because, like, yeah, where are you going to sneak attack a skeleton? It's like, I don't know, pop his head off. It's like, yeah, that kind of makes sense.
Yep.
I think resistance, immunity, and poison is just your body being able to ignore or remove foreign substances in the body, like gears that can't jam, just crush everything caught between them. I mean, so that's just Constitution, though. Like, that's what I would say. Like, if you're resistant to poison, that makes more sense of like getting a boon to your Constitution save because you have a good liver. But like, yeah, cats being immune to black widow bites is not something that gives them immunity to poisons. Yeah, exactly. So like, it's just it's too complex. Like, it's too complex of a thing to just, I think a blanket immunity is strange. A strange choice. I'm immune to fire. What about magma? Yes. Like, yeah. That, and then you run into things that are like, I'm immune to acid, so I can't be eaten by a Tarrasque. And it's like, okay. Lazy writing. Of course, the old Tarrasque, what was the old Tarrasque was like, when it eats something, it's just instantly destroyed. Like, no.
Yeah. No save, no.
Yep, just gone.
No save, no roll, no nothing. You are consumed as if you were swallowed by a black hole.
Yep. Lazy writing. Dun, 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 dun. We lost everybody.
Uh-oh.
Everybody left. We got too spicy. Got too spicy with the science talk.
And the actual talk of literal spice.
I love drugs. Don't take that out of context. That was a spice joke for Scanlan. Drugs are bad, people. Don't do drugs.
Unless they're prescribed for you, specifically for a health condition you need.
Yeah.
And even then, if they're addictive, be careful.
I lost the plot. What were we talking about?
I can't remember either. I'm trying to figure out how to do an accountant's dress in vaguely pre-Victorian kind of medieval style, and I don't know.
Can we talk about pre-Victorian fantasy?
Yeah.
Like, I am totally for picking a time frame for fantasy. I think that's fine. Like, if you're writing a story and you want to have a specific theming, spaghettification, no, yeah, Terrace to spaghettify everything. I'm fine if your story needs a specific thing, that's fine. But like in a world where you have, I'm gonna call them hyper craftsmen, like Cernivillans and dwarves and stuff.
Yep.
There has to be like some crazy magical textiles, right?
Yeah.
There's
Oh,
just gotta
absolutely.
Maybe like dragon skin and stuff. Too.
Absolutely. I guarantee, like, given lore about or like IRL fairy tales about gnomes and such, and their feats of craftsmanship, like they have to have figured out a cotton gin relatively quickly, right? Like they know how to make a super high efficiency knitting machine or something else, yeah. So I'm not worried about the technology to produce textiles or the amount of cloth.
Mm-hmm.
I'm mostly worried about like the specific aesthetic styles involved,
right?
because like Victorian era built a very 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 specific silhouette
Maybe an alchemist
as a fashion aesthetic.
Oh yeah, getting like magical spider silk to make clothes, that could be cool.
Yeah. I
think Bry's giving you
yeah.
clothes ideas.
Oh yeah, you are. Yeah, these are all along the lines of what I was thinking anyway, so. Oh, you're right. I do need not epaulets. I do need something on this waistcoat. Collar.
Was I missing something about this one? I can't remember. It's just a Samoan water zombie, water genasi, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I prefer the setting where those things were lost technologies rather than ongoing discoveries. Like cloth, you mean?
Like the technology to mass produce cloth. I think.
There's a big chunk of our, like, the thing that makes a lot of our clothes systems and food systems work is like mass production of farms.
Yeah.
And when you have druids, I feel like that would not be a stretch. I feel like
if you assume druids are willing to participate in
that's true.
In mass production capitalism.
Sure. Because like I think a big thing with maybe not Victorian, maybe even Victorian or pre-Victorian that I feel like is a lot more fantasy is kind of scarcity. Like the thing that drives a lot of their stuff is scarcity.
Yeah.
And Victorian, I guess, kind of moved into that manufactured era things were manufactured, but like a lot of clothes and stuff was still hand tailored.
Yes.
So you had manufactured cloth, but then tailors still taking care of stuff.
Yeah,
So-
yeah, and the invention of the sewing machine, which allowed for easier
Replication.
production. Yeah, but things like corsets, I believe, still had to be manufactured.
Oh my god. I might have to do that in the next game. Just have you guys like walk into a room with a bunch of sewing machines. Just like, do these belong here? Fight me.
What the fuck is this thing?
What is going on here?
Do I understand that?
It's a bunch of
Do I
goblins.
know what
just
this
like, Yeah.
is?
I'm a goblin
Goblins.
seamstress.
Goblins working in a sewing sweatshop.
Help us. It's hot. The Bugbear Lord Walt Disney is forcing us to do things. Send help and lunch.
I was gonna make a Nike pull, but
Nike's good too. The Grand Lord Nike. I think I'm done with this one. I'm gonna move on to the next one.
You
I
mean the
really
Ancient
hope-
Goddess of Victory.
I want to roll a 16 because I want to draw this raptor squirrel. I rolled a 1, which is a reroll because I don't have anything in the 1 slot. 3. Bonjour, big burly vampire bat barbarian dude. Separate arms and wings, please. If you don't... Oh, if so... If you'd be so kind and make him scary. I just added a bunch of words to that sentence for no reason. For no reason. Alright. Giant bat. The man bat. If it's a bat guy with arms and wings, that's a gargoyle. Right? Or the guy
Kind
from,
of.
I guess it could be the vampire guy from Underworld. People are just slowly trying to trick me into drawing this big, sexy rugby. Draw Batman. No wings. Okay, draw giant bugbear. Great. Give him tiny goblin feet. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. I think I've
He's on to
officially...
his chat.
I think I've officially, like, worn a hole in my carpet. Under my chair.
Your chair. Oh no.
Whatever. Could be a werebat. That's true. Could be a werebat. I have another campaign Brandon Lee Mulligan did, which was about classic fairy tales, and he had the mice from Cinderella have crisis because they were turned into horses. Yeah. Oh God, my hands.
I love that. I love giving people trauma from polymorph and also the awaken spell.
The awaken spell's pretty, yeah. The
Like,
Zebashu.
I did that before the Sebastian thing, but I loved his depiction of that. I did not consider doing it to pigs in a slaughterhouse because I have a shred of decency. But I had players awaken a bed of reeds in order to have a conversation with them, and my players were slightly upset by the fact that I had the plants have an existential crisis about suddenly having emotions, presence of mind, self-awareness. What is happening?
Yeah,
Anyway.
there's a little bit of weirdness with the awakening spell. Because, like, I think we said before, like, it's just always an evil act to awaken something.
Yeah.
But that's a very, like, bleak outlook on God. Is what that is. How dare you?
Well, I'm sure you've seen like those channels where people teach their cats or dogs how to communicate with
Yeah.
buttons.
And then the dogs are
And-
just like, sad, 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 sad.
Yeah.
It's like, oh God, what have I done?
Taught them how to process their reality in an existential manner, and suddenly they're massively depressed.
Which I think is kind of bullshit in general. I think it's just for the the clicks.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, like, I think that's very much like that's the toddler mentality, right? Like,
Yeah.
cats and dogs are essentially 2 and 3 year olds. And so if you tell a toddler that when they get sad they get whatever they want and cake for dinner, they're going to be sad all the time.
Yeah.
Oh, you're not going to pay attention to me? I am so sad. I'm so sad. Please pay attention to me. It's like, all right.
Yeah.
So that dog might not even understand what sad means, but he knows that sad means he gets pets. So the problem is because it becomes useless. Hold on a second. Am I commenting too much? No, don't worry about it. You're doing fine. You gotta stop dancing between drawing sessions. You've learned when they call it cutting a rug. Ah, okay. Problem is, it becomes a useless thing if they do it. I'm having trouble reading today. Problem is, it becomes a useless thing if all they do is scream and have an. I don't think you meant to type extragenital crisis. But that does say extragenital crisis. Also, the argument is way too similar to the existence to suffer sort of argument. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's a very bleak. It's a very bleak outlook on life to say that it's an evil act. But it is kind of fun sometimes to torture your players that way. I think in most situations, especially like plants, if you give the plant awakening, like it's like, hello, I am a stick. My lot in life is to be here, and that's kind of cool. Like, I don't expect them to be like super intelligent and care about anything, but like a pigs are pretty smart. I think pigs would have a crisis.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did not mean that. Fair enough.
No, yeah. I don't actually think existence is suffering. I just like to screw with my players.
Why are we here just to suffer?
No, I think I agree with you. I also love to do the thing where the players awaken a plant and be like, did you see a thing or this thing that we're looking for? And have the plant be like, what is C?
Exactly. Yeah. Like there's a little bit of you got to suspend the disbelief for like what's the purpose of this. Same thing with talk with plants. Like
yeah.
You're probably not going to get like mathematics out of a plant. Goblins is a sweatshop are chained to the desk, and the bugbear is so lazy he forgets to lock the shackles. And the goblins are too scared to attempt to leave. Ugh. That's some capitalism right there. Is what that is. What did you see? Sunny. Yeah, I like that. That's my favorite response. Like, oh, it was really sunny yesterday, or like, oh, it was raining yesterday. It was nice. It's like stupid plants. Why did we talk to this plant?
Do you have any knowledge of this thing? Well,
what's that?
Yeah. The birds were screaming about something.
But I don't speak bird.
Yeah. You could try them. They have vision and can move.
I went outside yesterday really late at night because reasons. And that fucking rabbit's just sitting in the middle of my yard, eating my yard. And I looked at him, I'm like, you son of a bitch. And I take a step at him, trying to scare him off, and he's just like, no. And he just keeps eating my yard. And I was like, ah. Like, this rabbit is taunting me. If I could speak with that rabbit, I'm pretty sure it would have nothing to say. It would just be like, grass. Grass good. Grass good, eat grass. And it's like, stop eating my grass. So,
you're not scary.
yeah.
Eat grass.
Eat more grass. The birds can tell you everything about their shinies. Yeah. I'm kind of worried that they're eating all of my like clover seed, which would make me very frustrated.
Oh yeah, I can totally see that.
I want my yard to be nothing but clovers. I was thinking about it though. They might be eating my my dandelions, so that it's a self-fixing problem.
Yeah.
So I might just leave them below.
I think I have drawn Bernadette Banner of YouTube, but as a orc.
Is that the historical clothes lady?
Yep.
Okay.
That's one of them, yeah.
Boom, boom, boom. Did we lose Corvus?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I was gone for like a good while, packing or not dishes, but groceries in.
Gotcha. Packing those dishes into the car.
I mean, I had to do that like about a month ago.
Oh, really? What happened? Oh, because you were moving stuff?
Yeah.
Gotcha. We went to Costco the other day. I haven't actually shopped at a Costco in years, but I'm used to going to Winco and I grab like 3 bags because here in Washington they charge you for bags, so I bring my own bags. And I went to Costco and I'm like, I'll bring 4 bags. Long story short, we filled the whole fucking cart. Like it was just like packed full of stuff, and I was like,
Yep.
You know what? We don't even need the bags. Just leave it in the cart. It'll be fine.
When I go shopping at Costco, I have a couple of the big blue IKEA bags.
Yeah.
I have like a half dozen of those, and I use those.
Costco's a weird place.
Very.
Costco's are kind of non-existent here.
Oh yeah, bet.
Like I only know of like one. Guess the closest equivalent to like a Costco we have is like a Sam's Club, but they're not.
Yeah.
I don't think they're as good as a Costco.
No.
That's essentially a fancy
Walmart.
Yeah. We don't want to have to build a Walmart, so we're going to build something else called a Sam's Club.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well,
Where you have to pay us twice.
Sam's Club is Walmart for the upper lower class. I feel bad about that joke. I
You should.
stand by it.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with it either. I guess that makes I get where you're coming from, but still.
It's still built and designed to exploit the people at the bottom of the rung. The social.
Costco is a weird thing because you're paying for a membership, things are cheaper, right?
Yep.
And then they have the whole. I like the idea that it's kind of a co-op because you get part of the dividends thing. It's weird. It's a weird system.
It's very weird. I actually don't understand their business model at all.
I very much prefer Winco's model.
Same. It's transparent.
It's very transparent. It's just like, hey, we're going to charge you a flat amount of upscaling that will pay for our employees, and we only take debit cards. Great.
Another thing about Costco is they don't really advertise like their deals or anything. It's just like you have to go in. It's like they spend very little like as a brand on advertising things.
Yeah, and I think partially that's because of the membership, right? Like, there's no reason for them to send out letters to people who don't already have a membership, because it's like, hey, do you want to buy this meat for 50 cents cheaper than normal? It's going to cost you $60. It's like no one's going to do that, right? So the webpage has them. Yeah, you basically have to go to the Costco website, and then they'll send you a letter if you are a member. So it's kind of weird. They have a lot of ways to save money, which is interesting.
And their hot dogs in Chile have been the same price forever.
You can get their hot dogs at Winco. You just can't buy them in like super bulk. You have to buy them.
No, I mean like Costco's kind of like a weird cafeteria thing.
Oh yeah.
Sam's Clubs have the same thing. It's like for their hot dog is like $1.50, which is cheaper than what you can get at a high school baseball game.
Yeah. That's what we call a crap. What did my boss call it?
A scam.
A little bit, yeah. Like soda and things like hot dogs or like pretzels, like convenience items, are essentially like. The cheaper something is, the more you can charge for it. It's like a weird diverging thing, because hot dogs cost on average for like if you have a good hot dog and a nice bun, like $1.25, charge $5. Yep. It's like that's a great upcharge for a restaurant, especially when someone's gonna buy like 5 or 6 of them. Like that's awesome. The birds can tell everything. Oh yeah, we already read that. And same thing with soda. Like soda is super cheap, so it seems like it's a good deal because you're like, oh yeah, this is only $1. That's awesome. It's like that costs us a nickel. Like you're paying more money for the cup than you are for the actual soda.
I still think that the movie theaters tend to take the markup a little too far.
The movie theaters are I don't want to say they're a scam, but they that's how they make most of their money. They make most of their money from the concessions.
From concessions, yeah.
Which is the same thing for football games, right? Like you go to a football game, you're not paying $1,000 to go to a high school football game. You're walking in the door, then you're paying $10 for a hot dog, and that's how they're making money.
Yeah, specifically with like movie theaters, like they do get a small cut of the ticket sales, but most of that goes back to the studios.
Yeah. Yep. That's the trick. That's the trade-off. Which is it's not a bad system. It's just I don't know. It's kind of shitty for the viewer.
Oh yeah, it used to be kind of worse because there used to be a studio specific theaters. So like one theater could only show Fox movies, or one could only show Disney movies.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but that was also when like movie theaters didn't have 1,000 views, right? Like you would go to a theater, like a Fox theater, that would make sense.
Yeah, because that system went away with what was like when they got rid of the studio system. We still have movie studios, but they're no longer massive. I mean, they're still massive now, but like
they don't own all of the movie theaters.
Right.
Yeah.
The Costco food court is usually at a loss. It's to get you in the store. They expect you to buy other stuff while you're sitting in the building. Yeah, that would totally make sense. I really think it's funny, like the let's all go to the lobby, like the matinees or the intermissions, like so people can do that. Those don't exist really in movie theaters anymore, which is funny. But I've been to a few shows, like live shows, where they'll still do that. Like, hey, let's take a 20-minute break. Everybody go get a $20 can of Coke. It's like, oh, all right.
Yeah. One time I've ever experienced that was when we went to a like a Halloween monster movie run at this older theater. That was, and so like you would watch like these really long, like almost 2-hour movies. They felt long because they were kind of dull movies.
Right.
They were all the black and white monster movies. And then like you would have an intermission of like 10 minutes or so.
I used to work the concession stand at my church. I had a weird life. I just chalk it up to beings all being classed as selfish and greedy. People throughout history have tried swapping the classes, changing system, etc., and found the solution being excluding assholes.
So that's excluding assholes.
That's just how it works. Making the system doesn't look good. Yeah. Capitalism.
I think that is actually not just capitalism because.
Druid, you're from Mormon City.
Yep.
Is sneaking popcorn into a movie theater like still a big deal, like it was when I was in high school?
Yeah.
That was the Mormon bad boy thing that they did. That my Mormon friends were like, oh, you guys want to go to this $2 movie? I'm gonna tape M&Ms to my body, and it's just like, or you can just put them in your pocket. Like no one's gonna check your pockets. It's fine.
I'm going to apologize in advance. Are you shitting me?
No.
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 Talking about lame.
Yeah. Welcome to the Mormon
Pure
bubble.
Disappointment.
How are you going to be a bad boy?
I'm actually really kind of angry about this. I don't know why, but I'm really frustrated by that.
Because what frustrates you about it? Like, what's the frustrating part? I gotta know.
Just that it's
Do
such
they think they're being
bad
badass?
thing to do.
Oh.
It's like that's the frustrating bit. Not that they've been doing it. It's just like people were treating it as such like, oh look how bad I am. I'm gonna like sneak food into a theater.
That's To be fair, that is really only for the good Mormon kids. The bad Mormon kids sneak in, or would sneak in mouthwash and get drunk off their asses, and then puke all over. So it really is kind of a very broad spectrum, right?
I was just gonna say I was gonna contradict you, Druid, but then I'm like, no, I had a friend that did that. But I also had Mormon friends that just snuck beer into the movie theater. It's just like, if you're gonna break the rules, they went all the way. They just did not care.
If you're going to break the rules, just go the full mile.
Yeah. The mom with the huge
Bring in
bag
a
and 12
fifth.
bottles of water. Yep. I know that.
Yep.
Bowling alleys are a more sustainable version of movie theaters. They are, which is weird.
Yeah.
But that could be because, like,
I would
Bowling
not.
alleys.
I would not have believed that statement 15 years ago, but 100% yes.
I mean, I used to go to the bowling alley all the time near my house because, like, my family bowled and I didn't, but they had an arcade, and so I would go with them.
Yep.
And they basically had like a brazier. They had like a deep fryer and a grill, and it was one guy. There was one guy that worked there. So it's like their overhead was not high, and everything they cooked was just like in frozen bags. So it's like they weren't making anything special. It's just like, oh, you want French fries? Boom, done. I was like, hell yeah.
Yep.
Curly fries and Mario. Here we go. Like that was my Saturday.
Yeah, the closest bowling alley near me, conveniently, is right next to the movie theater.
Yeah.
Like, they share the same building. And so it's a very common place for, like, schools, like public schools in the area, when they, like, do testing and they need, like, certain groups of students out of the building. So just like, off to the movie theater with you and bowling alley.
Funny.
And if we were really lucky, they would give us the choice, like, do you want to go watch a movie or go bowl?
One of the kids in my class, who like I went to school with for the entirety of my life, his dad owned one of the bowling alleys in town, and it was the most spoiled kid I knew. Like, he was just, he would invite me to, like, I went to one of his birthday parties once at the bowling alley, and that's when I discovered that his dad owned it. And I was there for like 20 minutes, and I was like, I kind of want to just go home. Like, this is not fun. Is what it is. I think I'm done with this Bat Boy, which surprisingly looks like a bugbear.
It does. Also, he looks like he's asking for a hug.
It could be because I put the fangs on the bottom.
It's also something in the shape of the nose, I think, because that's kind of our bugbear shaped nose. It's a
Oh,
little bit of a
I
rugby
need
nose.
to have the nose go up. There we go. That's doing it.
What was this character supposed to be?
A giant Batman.
Oh.
Giant
Yeah,
burly
definitely
bat
flip
barbarian.
that nose upside down.
The hug bear. Oh boy. I used to walk into the Walmart bag of 2 liter and Pepsi and a Reese's with a Twister. Yeah. Like, we used to go to the they would do like dollar movies every week where you could go to a movie for $1. Yeah, we just brought our own shit. Like,
Yeah.
they never said anything. It's like, you think we're coming to the dollar movie and we're gonna spend $12 on a box of popcorn? Like, no. It's like, you don't understand what we're doing here. We're poor. We're here to see a movie. Damn it! Like, we're bringing our own shit.
Yep.
Where are the?
How are we feeling time-wise,
What
by
time
the
is
way?
it? Is it 1:30? I think especially with the nose, the wings could show up isn't a bugbear, at least half bat vampire one. Yeah. Oh, I can do another one after this for sure. I think I can go till 2 at
Yep.
least.
I got one more than me.
Okay.
I'm getting tired though.
Yeah. Do a funny
okay.
one.
Do the fun.
Yep.
I already got the slime. That was fun.
That was pretty good. Drag hello. Welcome.
2.
A ghost researcher who came into existence as a wizard's familiar, now searching for the source of magic knowledge. Wow, this is really long. Hold on. Led him to become a relentless spirit beyond death who searches for knowledge about magic and spells as a ghost. So it's a ghost researcher. That's it.
Research that as a ghost.
Researcher that is a ghost.
Not Spankler.
I mean, why not Spangler?
I mean, the ghost of Spangler? Oh.
I still like that movie. I'm going to watch the next one. It's going to be great.
Actually, I'm really interested in like the new one that's coming out, the Frozen Empire, or whatever it's called.
Did you watch Afterlife?
Not yet.
It's good.
Just a second.
It's good. I'd watch it. I'm going to the Ghostbuster movies in theater and expect it going to be like $50. Yeah, that's rough. It's one of the reasons I don't go to movies anymore. Like, I have a really nice popcorn popper that I'm addicted to. Like, that's where my snacks come from. And yeah, I can make my own popcorn at home for like 12 cents. Of course, that's my excuse for not going out to eat either. It's just like, I can make that at home. I can make.
Yeah.
Why spend money when I can spend money here? And that's how you become an alcoholic. Like,
and a shut in.
yeah. Why go to the bar when I can get a whole bottle of wine? The Dollar Theater up in Sugar House has the stickiest floors and the most uncomfortable chairs. It was often used by the homeless for a quick nap, where they had 6-player X-Men in the arcade. Nice. Nice. I think I'm done with this bad boy. We're going to draw the next one. Fuck yeah, raptor squirrel. Part raptor, part squirrel, all ambush predator. Here we go. It has happened.
He's done it. The dice gods have been kind.
The dice gods have been kind to me. I honestly don't know how I'm going to draw this. Like, do I give it the head of a squirrel? Or the body of a squirrel and a raptor body? The new Beetlejuice looks good. There's a new Beetlejuice coming out?
Yep. I saw a trailer for that today.
Is it like more of a sequel, or is it more of like a remake?
I'm not sure. It was pretty ambiguous, but Jenna Ortega is in it. It was girl who did Wednesday Addams. So
They're typecasting her already.
yeah. I didn't recognize the guy who's playing Beetlejuice.
I remember watching the old Beetlejuice cartoon.
Right.
It's specifically called Beetlejuice.
No, don't do it again.
Oh.
It's a continuation.
It's like a sequel. Yeah, because Michael Keaton is reprising his role as Beetlejuice.
Neat.
And Willem Dafoe is in it. But both Michael Keaton and Winona Ryder, Winona, are reprising their roles from the first one.
Winona.
That's cool. I don't think I ever actually watched the full, or the original all the way through.
It's pretty weird.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think that's probably why I didn't watch it all the way through. I was a very nervous child, and it scared the shit out of me.
The sandworm.
It was a Tim Burton movie.
Yeah.
So. I didn't mean to cut you off there, Rook. Sorry.
Nope. Everything. Familiar cast name, very happy. Good. Yeah, that'll be fun. I hate the movie because it gave me nightmares for years.
Like how people felt about the Wizard of Oz, but I never got that.
It's literally Michael Keaton again. Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah. I guess I have forgotten who Michael Keaton is because I did not recognize him as Beetlejuice. I was hoping it would be the original guy because I didn't think he had passed away yet, and he looked older, so
yeah.
and sounded familiar. So I was like, I don't know. but I really stepped in it when I ranted about Claptrap in this. So,
Not by much.
so I wasn't gonna
How dare!
set myself up for that. Why couldn't they just get the original Claptrap? You know, multiple guys played it through the game series, right? Well, shit.
My childhood.
Yeah, like the guy who played Tilk in Stargate issue 1 didn't always play Kratos.
Oh, he didn't? I thought he did.
I think he came in like in the third one installation, because there was a lot more other than like before he went to Norway.
Gotcha. Can we comment here or on YouTube? I mean both.
Yeah, Dragon Turtle, you can comment in Twitch.
Just a heads up, I sometimes lose track of the Discord, so because I'm reading the YouTube chat. So if I don't respond, that's why.
The squirrel has no arms.
He's got raptors for arms.
So you're gonna Yuan-Ti abomination that shit.
Yep.
Seems like a good decision to me.
He's got to have little tiny squirrel hands.
Most raptors didn't have tiny hands, though.
Okay.
The squirrels have tiny hands.
Yeah, I'm just giving Rook a hard time. You're doing it wrong.
Draw better.
Get good.
Get good.
But I'm getting into a weirdish sort of mood here, so.
We were playing Helldivers last night with Kevin the Necromancer.
Uh-huh.
And when he can't play undead things, he likes robots for probably the same reasons.
Uh-huh.
And so he's like, I'm building so many turrets. I'm just going to throw turrets everywhere. And we're like, okay, just be careful because they'll kill us. And he's like, oh, I'm going to just get real aggressive with these. And then all of us immediately got murdered by his turrets. And he's like, what the hell? And we're like, your turrets killed us. And he's like, that's not a thing that can happen. We're like, yes, that's the whole fucking game, Kevin. Like, you gotta put your turrets in a good spot. And he's like, they were kind of over there. I'm like, yeah, and look where the monsters are. And now we're all dead. Like, we just got real spicy with him. It was really funny.
Poor guy.
Oh, you guys are just giving me shit. It's like, no. You're gonna kill us. You're gonna kill us all.
This game doesn't have PvP.
There's no such thing as friendly fire when it comes to turrets.
I put it behind the building, and then it shot through the building and killed us all.
What? No.
I was playing with Dalcor too before that. It was really funny because we like upped the difficulty. We're on like 7, 8, trying to beat 8, and Dalcor just started playing, so we're on like 4 with him. And I'm like, I'm going up to 5, and he's like, yeah, let's do it. And then he saw a Bile Tide, and he's just like, what the fuck is that? And I was like, yes, we did it. This is how this game should work. Yeah, Afterlife is a really good movie. I really liked what they did with Afterlife. It was a good sequel, but it felt like they wanted to make a reboot, right? Like they wanted to reboot it.
Yeah.
And so they tried to basically do what Star Wars did, and I think they did a better job than Star Wars did.
Yeah.
How can we get the feel and vibe of the first one, but with new characters and stuff? So I think they did a good job. So I'm looking forward to the Ghostbusters is probably I would say is one of my favorite movies. There's a lot of good movies out there, don't get me wrong, but like Ghostbusters and Jaws, those are my classic movies that I dig. Die Hard's on there somewhere, but I haven't watched Die Hard in like 10 years. Alright, there's my raptor squirrel.
Looked at now needs to become like a little emoji for the channel.
Why?
I don't know. It seems like it would be a perfect addition to rugby.
Rugby's just full of squirrels.
I mean, not to rugby as in physically, but like pet raptor squirrels.
Yeah.
Which is vicious.
Look what I found. Can I keep him? I'll take real good care. Promise.
Well, I dropped a die onto the carpet and it vanished.
Uh-oh.
There it is, I found it.
Doesn't count. Wasn't on the table.
Dragon quadruped poppet. Draconic sorcerer, amulet of dragon around his neck. Dragon. More dragons. Okay. Stuffed dragon puppet.
Dragon, but dragon.
Yeah.
Dragon.
But I hunger for violence. It needs to be a mount. Who would ride a dragon raptor?
Oh god, that reminds me. In Divinity Original Sin, they added a basically kind of an animal companion sort of figure, who is a squirrel that is on a quest to protect the Great Acorn.
Okay.
And he rides a dead skeleton cat.
Nice.
And it's just like,
That sounds extremely Divinity Original Sin to me. I'm not surprised, honestly.
I'm just glad they didn't give him like a ridiculous name. His name is Sir Loria.
That's for Squeakums. Sorry. I just started thinking of Emperor's New Groove.
Good pull.
Yeah.
I haven't watched it in so long, I don't really remember anything other than pull to lever.
Squeak, squeakum, squeak, squeak.
Are you talking to that squirrel? Oh yeah, I was a junior chipmunk. We had to be versed in all the woodland creatures' tongues.
It's another one of my favorite movies.
Yeah, I think that's my very favorite like buddy cop air quotes.
Yeah, no,
movie.
It's an amazing buddy cop movie.
Negative.
Oh, I love hate him.
So the issue is you can really only communicate with him if you have the like communicate with animals little feat.
Can you imagine seeing that
like,
and not being able to talk to it? It's just like,
yeah.
what the fuck's going on there? Wait, how do you say this? Quercus. Quercus the undead squirrel? Is that what you said?
Quetius.
Quetius? Okay.
Like loquacious?
Sorry, what an acorn?
Oh, it's apparently the genus name for oak trees, or
Oh.
for beech trees. Which apparently oak trees are in the beech family.
Cool. In my first Baldur's Gate 3 character last night, made a nature domain Duragar cleric of Tempest. Nice. Quirkus?
Waka?
Thought it was Quirkus.
Maybe. To Google Translate. Quirkus. Okay.
I've made a ghost black mage.
Nice.
It's not my intention, but we're here and I'm keeping it.
I've made a stuffed toothless.
You, my God, you have. You have.
Wait.
Congratulations.
I need to give him little butt wings. I'm just gonna say it. Highly memeable movie. I didn't enjoy it that much. Did not think it was that
movie
good.
was
How
to Train Your Dragon?
Yeah.
Oh.
It had some really funny moments, and the dragon animations were amazing. I didn't think it was that good of a movie. I was like, eh.
Interesting.
I ever watched, guess the second one? Where they found his mom?
The OST's first one goes hard. All right, fair enough. Maybe I need to give it another shot.
Yeah, but an OST does not make a good video make. I think I understand where you're coming from, Rook. I really enjoyed.
I mean, Warner Brothers would disagree with you, Druid.
Yeah, well, they can fuck right off. Look, it's an important component.
Yeah.
Right.
Did you see Suicide Squad?
Yes, unfortunately.
Or The Crow? Sorry, I'm vamping now. Go ahead.
I did really enjoy How to Train Your Dragon, but it also felt safe to me. Like there were a lot of safe choices made, and a little bit of potential squandered.
Really good design, though.
Yeah.
A lot of really good things. What time is it here? 1:46. We're doing all right. I don't know what else to add to this dragon, though. Maybe a patch. Maybe he's got like a some patch on his butt. Doesn't look right. There we go. Which How to Train Your Dragon? I only saw the first one once and that was it. So I think there are more of them. I don't know how many more there are. I thought it was a fun romp. I didn't need my kids' movies about dragons to be like absolute. Yeah, okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
Thought it was good visuals, some good sounds, a fun message for kids. Yeah, it could have been that it hit me at the wrong time. Like,
Entirely possible.
yeah, I might have just missed it basically. Because, like I said, the animation is great. Like, I love all the design and stuff. But when I watched it, I just didn't think it was. Wasn't enamored with it like I was with, like, Lilo and Stitch and Emperor's New Groove are like my favorite animated things ever. But
I think we're up to 3, maybe 4 How to Train Your Dragon movies and a cartoon series.
there's one of the dragons that like looks like this, and I love him.
Oh yeah, isn't that the one that lights itself on fire?
I have no idea. That's what I'm saying. Like I've seen more behind the scenes and like animation tests and stuff than the actual movies. So, can you have wooden or paper poppets, or are they specifically cloth? No, I think you can do anything. Like you can have a poppet be whatever you want. A poppet is essentially just a possessed toy. Like so.
Pathfinder is not restrictive in that way.
Moana's good too, yeah. Haven't seen yet. The new cartoon series on Modern Day seems like garbage from all the synopsis, clips, and reviews I've seen. Most cartoons based off of TV shows or movies aren't good. Like, there's very few that I think have ever surpassed the necessity of the movie. Maybe the Aladdin cartoon, like that was kind of its own thing.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I agree, because like there was a time where a lot of like movies from like the late 80s and early 90s that got made into cartoon shows.
Men in
like
Black.
The Mummy.
Yep, The Mummy.
Yep, Men in Black, Ghostbusters.
The Mask. RoboCop.
Starship Troopers.
Not great shows.
No. TV shows are generally just I don't want to say cash grabs, but like they're old school syndicated TV shows were really written to be fast content. Like they didn't have like in-depth story and stuff. It was just fluff. Especially kids shows, like
there seemed to be this very prevalent attitude that like if kids are gonna watch it, you like their attention spans are so like short that you don't actually have to put much thought into it.
There's another thing, like I was talking to a bunch of like my friends who have kids and are like their kids are now kind of at an age where putting them in front of the TV is maybe like seems like a good idea. And there's this dichotomy of TV shows that they've split it into of like commercial things like Paw Patrol, and then there's another one that's literally just cars.
Bluey?
Okay, so we'll get to that, right? And then there's the other side of it, which is stuff like Bluey, which is like this is an actual show. Like if you can sit down and watch it and it actually does something, like that's kind of a new thing. Like especially for kids shows, because a lot of it back in the 90s and stuff was mostly this.
Yeah.
And
like designed to sell toys.
Yeah, because like He-Man, Ninja Turtles, and Transformers. Yeah, those are all just like, how can we write a story around these things? And some of those were okay, but like I tried to go back and watch the Transformers cartoon. It's hard to watch. I'll say it that way. It's hard to watch. So
yep.
Yeah.
I think some of the later Transformer shows, like, because I know there's like a Transformer anime that's actually I remember enjoying pretty well.
Yeah, and I think Transformers was a good example of like someone had an idea and they sent it to a studio to make a show. And so like Transformers was one of the ones that like it ran for a while, it was okay, but there was a lot of like Scooby-Doo filler kind of thing where like none of the shows really follow anything. G.I. Joe is the same thing, like very syndicated, very weird. Post-ironic hyper ADHD, a little so random humor. There's a handful of those, like Teen Titan Go kind of tried to do that, and it just doesn't work as well. So I think people want more of the stuff like Bluey and stuff like. There's a handful of other shows.
Yeah, because there's like adults who watch Bluey.
Yeah, Yeah, because it's functionally written. Like,
Yeah,
it's written
yeah.
competently.
Well, it in a lot of ways, things like Bluey are kind of like Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood.
Yeah. Like, how can
Yeah.
we give content to kids that's actual content and not just insanity?
Yeah, yeah.
A
So
funny,
that, and also something that's going to enrich them and give them tools to become well-adjusted people.
there was I was watching a show. I've never heard of this show. What is it's Bluey? Yeah, Bluey. It's
Yeah.
about a little tiny dog that is a kid. So it's cute. There was another
Extremely
one.
well. It's extremely well
Yeah,
done.
there was a Hot Wheels show that was like stop animation. That's that they just started remaking a few years ago, and the old one was actually like it was just basically cars running around, which was funny. And then the new ones, they kind of went that weird like post-ironic hyper ADHD thing, and it's like, okay, this is too much. So like, there's a lot of ways things are built. I'm gonna have to start thinking about all this stuff now, like more cognitively. But yeah, storytelling and mediums for kids content is really really strange, and it's always funny to me when you like start looking at kind of the things that people like into their teens and 20s and what that kind of pushes out into their like adult lives, like Adventure Time. Like there is now a generation of people that grew up with Adventure Time and SpongeBob, and just like looking at those things versus us, like Druid, you and I probably grew up about the same stuff with
Yep.
like I said, with like X-Men and Ninja Turtles and
Yep.
Beakman's
Avatar: The
World.
Last Airbender. Although I was a little bit late.
Yeah, because like Avatar was, I think that was kind of a good bridge between child cartoons and adult cartoons.
Yeah, yeah. Well, because it was specifically designed to grow with its audience,
Exactly,
right? So it started at the lower end of its audience, and then like it feels pretty like uninteresting until about episode 4, and then they start doing some like serious world building and character growth stuff, and that's when I was immediately like, oh damn, this is good.
You can tell a good story and not have it be about boobs. It's great.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Wishbone still helps me make good decisions. Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
like
yeah.
like there's a principle we talked about in school a lot, which was like sell me something like a car or a toy without putting guns on it, right? Because like,
Yeah.
and that's like
Yeah.
HBO's model is okay. Let's try to tell a story, but we got to make sure that it's not boring. So let's add a bunch of boobs in it, and it's just like, or just like add sex, add violence and gore and shock value, and it's like, can't we just tell a good story? And they're like, no, you can't. It's got to be these things. And it's like, it's lazy writing. So
Yeah.
not that a story can't have those things in it, but like there's a lot of bad shows out there that just try to get by with that. And it's the same thing with D&D characters. I'm talking about like building a campaign. Like see what you can build that's interesting because it's interesting. And then if your players start losing interest, maybe you need to change up how you're telling the story or what you're telling the story with.
Well, once again, it's the difference between using resources to build a functional story versus using resources as crutches to prop up a flagging story.
Yeah. Yep. There's still things that have violence and boobs and that are propped up by them. Yeah. I mean, it happens.
And there are also some things that are really good stories, and part of the thing that makes the story prescient is the inclusion of violence and boobs, like as like making important commentary on I don't know why we use such things, why our cultures are fascinated with them, and whether or not that's a good or acceptable thing.
I think we've talked about the comparison of The Boys and Invincible.
Yeah.
Two very similar shows in style, but tonality is different from the author. Like the author is telling a different story with them. So
Yeah.
but both about superheroes, both very much about gore. Like, and they just
extremely violent.
They just mean different things. So I think I'm done. I think I'm burning out.
Yep, I'm done too.
We got some fun little things sketched. If people are did not get your stuff drawn, I will put up a new post next Monday, and you can post your stuff there. We are in waiting mode for the Munchkin to show up. So yeah, so hopefully we'll be around next Wednesday and Friday. But I can't promise
we'll see.
that. We can't promise that. We'll see what's going on. The tiny one will be here
Probably.
soon. So
Yeah.
we're just gonna hope for the best and post your stuff next week. And if something changes, I'll let everybody know on the Discord as well as on the community post. That's all I got. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for the suggestions. Thanks for the good conversation. Yeah, we'll see if there's anybody to rate, and then we'll get out of here.
Yeah.
Thank you for the donations today. I do appreciate that. Keeping the channel. There's nobody online right now. All right. Well, that's all I got. Stay happy.
Happy Friday, everybody.
Yeah. Happy Friday. Stay happy. Stay healthy. Keep your dice on the table. We'll catch y'all next week. Bye, everyone.
Bye.